you've had some of the most stacked teams in scootering. For example, the
By
Catalyst. One of my favorite videos. I was at the premiere. What happened throughout the past couple years? What has happened to the Proto team? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode over here on the Zoned Out podcast. Today we have an extremely special guest, Mr. Andrew Broussard. He has an extensive introduction. Andrew is creator of Proto Scooters, Scooter Resource, River, Freestyle Depot. He's got ScooterCon, TGE distribution. He's got his hands in so many different things. He's an incredible person that we've had in the sport for many, many years. He's been here since day one. He actually is one of the guys that essentially created day one. This is the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Andrew Broussard. Andrew, thank you so much for being here, man. How's everything going?
Thank you. Good,
bro.
Staying busy. It's a busy time of the year, fourth quarter push for the holidays, so we've been flat out with production and just trying to make it to the end of the year in one piece.
Dude, I hear that, man. I hear that. How's everything going with the distribution right now? I know it's kind of like a quick way to start off, but I mean, just with everything moving right now, I know you've been a busy guy lately.
Yeah, I mean, fourth quarter is always a busy time of year, so we got ton of product in production right now, making everything here domestically. It keeps us very, very, very busy, but things have been good.
Man, good to hear. I know that you've met Matt quite a few times as well. You got a lot of history with his brother, bro.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
You unfortunately know my younger brother, my little brother.
There hasn't been one
spoken
podcast.
like a true Gould.
Bro, every time his name comes up, I got to go at him every time. It's a must. We have to.
Dude, every single time. One thing that I did recently see is Proto just went through its 13th anniversary.
Teenager.
We did. Proto is a teenager now. It is hard to believe. Yeah, time has flown by, but it's a pretty big milestone for us, and super excited. I mean, I'm happy about what we've accomplished, but I'm more excited about what's to come.
Yeah,
that's sick.
What would you say like the I guess the biggest movement year was with Proto? Oh, Andrew's trying to take the set down right now.
Whoa, bro.
Yeah, pull that thing closer, bro.
Yeah,
let me get
that
a
thing in
little
there.
slack up on it. All right.
Yeah.
It's all the children come up in here messing it
There
up.
we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
But what would you say like the biggest like turn point is within these past 13 years with this brand? Like, what's the biggest milestone? I guess was it year one where you actually started the brand? Was it year 13, it becoming a teenager? Was it in the middle somewhere? Year 6?
That is hard to say. I mean, there's been a lot of milestones, but I do kind of feel like the beginning was the most memorable, most important part. I mean, just that there was no other freestyle scooter companies at the time. So, I mean, just deciding that I'm going to start a freestyle scooter company, like in an industry that didn't hardly exist, that kind of symbolizes, what the brand stands for, just like trying to pioneer an industry that didn't exist and doesn't exist until, somebody goes out and tries it. So I think just the act of starting it was kind of the biggest milestone, but I mean, we have a lot of accomplishments over the years too. So I don't want to take away from the other things that happened since that point, but yeah, just like bringing Proto to life was huge.
I know, like, the first brand, correct me if I'm wrong, but the first brand that you started within the industry was Scooter Resource, correct?
Yeah, that I formulated, conceptualized, visualized.
Your first thing.
Yeah. The first thing that came to my mind, and when I thought about it, I was like, scootering can really benefit from this, I think. And that was Scooter Resource.
And tell us a little bit about Scooter Resource, like the birth of it and everything.
So I was a senior in high school. Actually, kind of take it back a little bit, junior in high school, and I took a HTML web development class. And at the time, there was a couple other scooter forums, like message boards on the internet. I'm trying to think. It's been a while.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I know. Seriously, I'm for myself. Sorry, not to cut you off. I was just trying to think like what the other forums would have been, like what were at the time, like what were the other forums that were going on?
There was the NBS. I think Nothing But Scooters had a forum that was either before or like kind of during the beginning of Scooter Resource. That was Ricky Warnicki. Then there was also the Scat forum. That was a really early one. And then there was one other one that I can't remember, but I mean, they were like hosted on GeoCities, Angel Fire, like all the free web platforms that, you used when you didn't know anything about running your own website. So my junior year, I was able to take this HTML like web development class and like learn about how to run your own website. And I was like, damn, like I could use this and actually make a real dedicated scootering website. And kind of funny, like the Scooter Resource was actually going to be called scootordie.com.
No, bro.
And I was like,
no, bro.
I was like,
thank God. Thank God.
I was shopping for like the domain name, like the URL, and I'm just like, man, what's available? Like what's cool? What could like be like edgy or something? And I was like, Scooter Die. Like I'm down for this, man. I'm gonna die for this. And
dodged a bullet, bro.
Yeah, and it's funny because the only reason that I didn't make it that, like, Scooter Resource was like my second option, like my plan B, and the only reason it didn't go Scooter Dies because somebody else bought it.
Really?
Like a month before I was ready to like buy, like commit to the name, somebody else bought it, and it was like a motorized, like motor scooter Vespa website or something. I have no idea what the domain name is now, but
shouts out to them, bro.
Yeah, for real. Scooter Die.
Sorry, bro.
Scooter Die, bro.
They took the bullet for me.
Yeah, they sure did, bro. They sure did. So do you feel like SR kind of somewhat paved the way for what is now your success, or I guess like another way of putting it is like kind of your work ethic and just what you've created now with scootering?
Yeah. I mean, yes, 100,000%. I mean, if Scooter Resource was the foundation for everything, it literally is what allowed me to do everything that I've done with a community around me, and it also facilitated the growth of basically like every other brand in the sport up until, I mean, there's like, obviously Scooter Resource has been dormant for a few years now. And there are new brands that have sprung to life outside of Scooter Resource, but like any of the old brands, I mean, they basically all found scootering and learned about it and started themselves through Scooter Resource. So I mean, it facilitated everything that I've done, but it also facilitated most of the roots of the sport.
I mean, cause I was there,
dude.
I remember.
I was about to say same way, dude. Same exact thing.
I remember being on the Scooter Resource original, the OG website with the SR star. And the arrows going into it, the whole 9 yards, and seeing. I remember the biggest thing was me going on there and seeing the different admins and being like, wow, that dude's an admin. Matt Pate. Matt Pate was one. I was like, wow, he was like user number 3 or something like that. And obviously you were number 1. I was way down on the list, but I remember seeing all the videos, and I remember the first thread that ever went up of me, and it was of like an old sponsor video. And it was like not that good of a video, but But I remember seeing it on there, bro, and just losing my mind of just getting that was the first time I ever got feedback on anything, because there was no Instagram, there's no YouTube, there was no nothing.
Dude. Yeah, I mean, that was like message boards were the social media. Like that was the media of the day. Like that's like media changes with time, and at the time of Scooter Resource, that was the most relevant media, like internet message boards.
I think I know the answer to this, and I know my personal opinion to this, but do you think that something like that, it doesn't necessarily have to be a forum, but something, I guess it really does have to be like a forum or a blog or something like that. Do you think it could survive today?
Oh, super challenging to maintain today. I mean, the one of the biggest things that kind of killed the message board, where, you know, like I could have just left it up indefinitely, but one of the things that just really ran it into the ground was just how sophisticated the spam bots got. I mean, you have to constantly be maintaining the forum and purging spam and trash posts, and I mean, it was turning into a full-time job basically to maintain a platform that was getting less and less views and traffic. So with the big social media giants, you know, you've got like the whole Facebook or now Meta ecosystem with WhatsApp and Instagram and all of that. They maintain everything for you. I mean, they do it all for you. You've got Reddit. The Reddit community is maintained by Reddit. You don't have to worry about the maintenance side of things, because that stuff gets extremely tedious. So as an independent website and independent message board, trying to be responsible for your own maintenance when there's these huge platforms that are constantly under development and somebody else is basically like taking care of it for you, it's almost impossible to compete with that, I think.
I couldn't imagine, dude, because I do a lot, like 99% of the stuff that's on, just for example, Scooter Zone's website, I run. Like I've done a lot of that stuff. And that's my own, like that's just us, you know. Like I could not imagine having a million kids or like scooter riders or really anyone, like you said, spam bots, just having access to go on there and post whatever they want, and having to and trying to like generalize that and make sure that it doesn't get to a point to where it's just overloaded crap.
Yeah.
I could not imagine that.
So the pros and cons, like, it's awesome with social media that the owners of these platforms maintain it for you, but at the same time you don't. I think Reddit's a little bit different. I think Reddit, you can have like moderators and administrators similar to the old forums, but like Instagram is just a free-for-all. Like people can go on there.
I was about to say.
Yeah, people can go on there and they can say anything they want with no repercussions. Yeah. But like back in the day on Scooter Resource, you know, like when there was community rules and there was like a mutual respect, like you would have gotten banned from the forum. Yeah. Like you wouldn't have been allowed to be part of the community acting the way that a lot of people act today. Like there's no consequence today. And that's the con of it.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, seriously though, dude, because like, I mean, you could literally go on Instagram and say whatever you want about someone's clips, someone's parts they're making, anything, dude. So, like it honestly is. It is kind of crazy that there isn't somebody out there like almost running that whole thing, you know? Because you literally can say whatever you want online. You can bash someone's whole existence, you know, someone's whole business. You can do whatever you want. You can slander it, say whatever you want. So it's just honestly, it's crazy.
Well,
it's
crazy. There's definitely people that do, you know, jump in, but I think it's just it's a force that is uncontainable almost. Like you just cannot.
There's always going to be the meathead dude that has something to say about something somewhere, you know. Like, there's always going to be that guy that has to put their 2 cents in, like it matters.
It just turns into a pissing match.
Yeah,
you know, it's like
straight up.
Like people come in and try to regulate, but like a lot of times, like it's just trolls trying to trigger. Like they want somebody to try and regulate on them so they can like kick it up a notch.
Yeah,
and it's like honestly just ignoring is often the best strategy.
Yeah, it's such a weird way to live, dude. Honestly, imagine like living your life like that every day. You wake up and like you're just gonna, nothing's positive ever. You're just waking up and you're just always negative, always something negative to say about someone's work or anything like that. It's just a weird way to live, dude. You know, it kind of sucks that people still, you know, live that way. But It is what it is.
Did you ever really go on SR like a lot?
Yeah, a lot, bro. I was about to say, like, the first time I ever saw you was at the compound. And, like, the compound, bro. Well, it's crazy that I called it the compound just now because I literally only called it Real Ride. Straight up. Like, I've never called it the compound ever. But there's a lot of people that called it the compound and stuff. But
I only started calling it compound because of Shane, because I love Shane, bro.
Dude, I never did. When, the whole time it was open, like, I think right now is literally the first time I called it the compound before Real Ride. Yeah, swear. But I remember we would ride there all the time, me and my brother, and then I would see you all the time too. But I remember the first time I saw you, bro, like, you walked into you didn't have your scooter or anything. I think it was like a comp day or something, but you just looked real official. And I was like, this dude is someone in scootering that I don't know yet, but I'm going to know him. And I went up to my brother. I think it was either you or Ryan. I was like, dude, who's that guy over there? Oh, dude, it's Andrew, bro. It's Mr. Scooter Resource Proto guy over there. I'm like, damn, that boy fresh, bro. You had the scoot and everything, and you had your fork and everything on it, dude. And, bro, I'm telling you, I was telling him before we started, your fork, I'm going off page already, but your fork is like, your parts go crazy. I love your decks and everything, but I loved your fork, bro. That was like the first scooter part I actually fell in love with was the fork. Cause
the SR fork, the senior, well, the SR fork turned into the senior fork after Proto.
Yeah.
SR fork was the Scooter Resource fork. And then Proto remade the SR fork, but SR is abbreviation for senior. So we called it the senior fork because senior and SR, same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Bro, fire.
Or was it that one?
Yeah, it was that one.
And
the one you got right there too.
Yeah, we got the striker.
The one you got right there too, bro. Those are literally two of my favorite ones.
Look at this man's scoot, bro.
Bro, show us.
Whoa. This scoot is like the Andrew special right here at all times. Hey, tell us a little bit about that. What some of the things you got on there, bro? I know there's one thing in particular that I know you want to kind of say a thing or two about.
Yeah. Prototype signature bars for myself. It's kind of weird giving myself a signature part because I don't ride nearly as much as I used to. I mean, practically at all these days.
Yeah.
I mean, I work nonstop, but I still have visions for parts that I would very much enjoy.
Bro, I was going to say, you work hard enough making all these parts, man. Treat yourself. Make your own stuff, bro.
Yeah. That's kind of where it's
Yes,
at.
sir. I'm saying.
Then we got, this is the new full-size SCS.
Ripper.
What was that?
That's a rip.
Yeah, I'm hitting everything.
Here, pull that one a little closer.
Pull what, this?
Yeah, that one. There you go.
Will it go?
I know, it's like a weird arm, bro.
There
but
we go.
Yeah, we're in.
Check.
Oh, shoot.
There we go.
Yeah, so I got the full-size SCS V2. This is a little something special that I've been working on. We made 100 of them. And it is a custom anodized. There's 5 different colors: black, brown, red, yellow, and clear, silver, white, whatever you want to view it as. But yeah, it's kind of a loaded topic, but it's supposed to represent the 5 colors, or the 5 colors that people use to define the human race. So it's basically like the color coding system that we have pitted against each other. But it's a full 5-color blend. So it's just showing that, we're all one. And there are engravings on the side: liberty and justice. And there is a proto star with an arm reaching for peace.
Yeah, bro. Dude,
it's a really
so
cool.
fire.
It's a cool design, bro.
So
like
fire.
It's definitely a really, really neat.
And honestly, listening to the meaning behind it, like, I don't really want to get too far into it. It's not, I'm not here for this, but being African American, looking at this SES right now, like, the meaning behind it as well as the design, honestly, like, I'm getting kind of emotional just like hearing you just kind of explain what this part means to you and what the design means to you and what scootering means to me, and being, African American. It really ties both of my true passions in together. And it's honestly kind of amazing that, I'm just looking at something that really represents almost myself, like, I'm whereas I'm, in the whole community itself, you don't have the African American to, be involved in it and stuff like that. It just really shows like we are all one family. It's one. We all have one. We all have the same intentions. We want to have fun riding a scooter, right?
Yeah.
And it just this part, I feel like this part really signifies that whole message behind it. So I really, beyond the design itself, dude, the message behind it, because that was my first time hearing it. It's honestly amazing, bro. And I really appreciate you going out of your way to really make something for for everybody.
Thank you. I do appreciate that sincerely.
Yeah.
The world and culture, and again, like not to go like too deep down, there's just a lot of things dividing people, and scootering is one thing that brings us together from all walks of life. And
seriously,
I don't want my industry to be divided. I don't want to see the thing that I've dedicated my life to, the thing that I'm most passionate about, be torn apart. So it's really, the name of it is the Unity Clamp. It's supposed to be a thing that brings us all together. Liberty and justice for all. Treat everybody fairly. Treat everybody equally. And I don't know. The SCS was kind of like one of my first like really big contributions to the sport. So I felt it was fitting to kind of put it on that, because it's something that virtually everybody uses. And it's not a product that they will be for sale, but 100% of the proceeds is being donated to a charity. So I'm not trying to sell this.
It's amazing.
And I'm talking about it right now just to get like the story about it out, but this isn't like a marketing campaign, because there's only 100 of them, and they're pretty much going to be sold like behind the scenes, just to like people I know and people who support the idea. And then all the money is being given away. So
it's amazing.
And they are serial numbered. So there is actually only 100 of them.
Let's go.
So
beautiful stuff, bro.
If you see people out there with them, you know where they came from, and you know what they stand for.
Right.
So
I'm going to say it right here. I'm gonna need one of them, bro. I'm gonna need one, bro.
I got you.
Put one with my name on it. I'm gonna need that, bro.
Let me know what serial number you want.
Yeah,
one.
Seriously. But I really,
this is number one.
I'll take
Give
it.
me numero dos.
I'll take it.
Not for real, dude. Seriously though, like I really do
That's cool.
appreciate you implementing that aspect of life into scootering, because unfortunately that has been implemented with everything that we do these days. And like you said, we're a family, dude. This is not something that we do to be cool, to be popular, to be to be famous. We all do it because it's fun. It looks cool to us. It's something to do, keeps you out of trouble, and we all put a lot of effort, especially you two here, put a lot of effort into scootering, and it feels good to sit here on this couch with two guys that really do put everything into scootering, because there's a lot of people that kind of overlook all this, like all the behind the scenes stuff, designing parts, videos and stuff, dude. So it just makes me feel good to sit here that we have people that have been in the sport forever, but still are progressing it, and, there's a lot of hate around everything these days, dude. And, I'm sure you guys get your fair share, but it's amazing that you guys still push and push and push and push. No matter how much pushback you get, you're just pushing back towards the hate, And I like it and I love it, because scootering is something that's always been a part of my life for a long time. And to know that there's people out there that want the best out of this sport is amazing, dude. Seriously.
Yeah.
Like, I know I'm getting kind of, rambling on, but dude, seriously, it really makes me feel good to know that there's a special meaning behind everything that does with this sport. And it's not just, let me post this to get this. Let me post this YouTube video to get noticed about this, So it makes me feel good, dude. Seriously. Sitting here, I'm having fun. It's amazing.
If people like you appreciate what I do, what we do, that's the reason why we do it.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you.
Yeah.
Dude, thank you guys. And like I said, we're one family, dude. So this whole dividing thing has been going on forever. I hope it gets squashed soon. It really is on the right path, I think, I really do think that we are becoming one bigger family on a scooter, no matter if you're doing grinds or if you're going in the air. I just think we all really need to appreciate one another, because it's a small sport. We're still growing, and people like you guys really push everything. So People like you still put a lot of effort into the sport. So I feel like people like me should put a lot of effort into intertwining everything, if that makes any kind of sense, dude, because skaters, at the end of the day, skaters love skaters. Scooter riders need to love scooter riders, no matter what you wear or ride.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It just needs to be appreciated. And I feel like both of you guys really do appreciate the whole sport as a whole, dude. So I'm just here thinking, rambling on, annoying everybody right now, just to really appreciate what you guys have seriously done, because I haven't been too much into the sport, really. I haven't really done much, but outside looking in, dude, you guys both kill it, dude.
Thanks, seriously, bro. Thank you.
Appreciate you guys, man.
Yeah.
For real.
Man, that SCS kind of...
Yeah, the SCS really, bro, got me in my feels, bro. Got me in my feels.
Off the tracks.
But so since we're on the SCS, dude, like, tell us about the SCS. Tell us what kind of part you've played in the SCS, making it, the looks of it, everything. Kind of give us the rundown about everything you've done with the SCS.
So I know you probably remember, Raymond. I don't know, Matt, if you ever had a threaded fork.
Yeah, I did have a threaded fork. I did. Believe it or not, I actually did.
Dude.
Yeah, the worst part about old school scootering was a threaded fork. They were the weakest, most dangerous thing that you could possibly have on your scooter, and everybody had them on their scooter. And naturally, that had to be the first place to start. We got to get rid of threaded forks.
Yeah,
like they
were terrifying.
People literally got very seriously hurt because of those things.
Absolutely.
I don't know how many I broke and how many slams I took because the scooter just spontaneously disassembles itself in the middle of riding. So the first thing was threadless forks. So Scooter Resource released the SR fork. It was the first threadless fork. And at the time, SCS did not exist, but you have to have a way of compressing your headset. So with a threaded fork, you have the nuts on the top that you thread down, and that keeps your bearings tight. But when you take the threads off the fork, then you have no way of compressing the headset anymore. So my first attempt at a compression system was, it was just a compression system. There was no ICS, there was no SCS. It later became ICS, but ICS was the first compression system, but it was just called a compression system.
Right.
The compression system.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was a big long bolt that went up through the bottom, and then you had to put a star nut in your bars, and it pulled your bars in to tighten your headset, basically. The only problem with that is you were super limited on your handlebar compatibility. It was a pain. If it came loose, you had to take your front wheel off to tighten it. So that was never fun. Like it worked, but it didn't work well. So I just stayed on the drawing board, just trying to figure out, obviously threadless forks were the future, but I didn't think that ICS was going to be part of that future. So, what is the next best solution? And I just eventually put the pieces together and figured out SCS, and then filed a patent on that, and then released it. So I think I initially conceptualized it and started sketching it in probably 2007. And then, because the first threadless fork came out actually right. So I moved back from Louisiana, and then I moved to Louisiana to save up money, basically. I worked in the oil field, moved back from Louisiana to start my company, and then threadless forks were basically the first thing that I released when I moved home. So I left it 2005, moved home in 2006, started making the first threadless forks in 2006 with ICS, the compression system, which later became ICS, and then 2007 prototyped or started drawing the SCS. 2008 we prototyped it, and then that's when I filed for the patent. And then 2009 we actually debuted the SCS to the public, and it actually it was first called the brass knuckle. I don't know if you remember.
I remember.
Yeah, dude.
I remember.
Holy smokes, dude.
That actually, I am
The
curious
brass
about
knuckle
something.
SCS.
Yeah,
I remember the brass knuckle.
Yeah,
dude.
Oh yeah.
You bring up one thing that some of the guys that at least kind of dabbled in the business side of things knows about, but are a little bit unsure of and you mentioned the patent. You filed for the patent. What exactly is it within SCS that you own? Is it the name? Is it some kind of a logo? Is it the design? What is it that you own, and what essentially are you able to do, I guess is the right question.
So names and logos are not patentable. They fall under trademarks. So trademarks, essentially, like the very, very, very dumbed down version of a trademark is if you come up with something and you're the first one to call it that and you're the first one to use it, as long as you keep using it, you laid claim to it.
You own it. Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, you said you wanted it.
So like when you see, you can put like, if you see stuff that has like the little TM above it, that stands for trademark.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You can put that on stuff. You don't have to, but you can. But then if you see something like the R in the circle, registered trademark, that's basically basically anybody can have a trademark on anything that they come up with, like just by way of using it and being first to do it. But registered trademarks have just like a higher level of enforceability and international protections and just more stuff like that. As far as the wording, standard compression system, the abbreviation SCS, and then our SCS logo, it's like a little circle with like the two S's kind of intertwined with the C in it.
Mm-hmm. Epic did it too, right? They put it on their SCS.
Yeah. Epic was James, old owner with Scooter Zone, and I was tight with James, and he really respected what we were doing, and he wanted to kind of make it more official, and so he used it, but not really. I mean, pretty much like Proto is the only one that excuse me, actually has used like the branded SCS logo.
Yeah.
I think James only did it like very briefly. It was kind of like a trial run, if you will.
Okay.
But so the patent part, so there's two different types of patents you can get. You can get a utility patent or you can get a design patent. Utility patents have nothing to do with the way something looks.
Okay.
It's the way something functions. So it's what are the pieces? What are the parts? What are the mechanical requirements for it to function a certain way and do a certain thing? And then a design patent is only the way that it looks.
Okay.
So one is purely form, one is purely function. So my patents are actually utility patents, so they are purely function. So it doesn't matter what the SCS looks like. If it functions the way an SCS functions, it falls under that utility patent.
So let's ask the question that anyone that has made an SCS in the past, I'm sure has thought of, as well as myself, who has lived in that point of selling them. What can you do to people that have made SCS and essentially just gone around and just made an SCS, even though you own a patent on it? Like, is there any, or is it too deep, or is it because I've heard like a patent is only, what's the wording? A patent is only as powerful as the owner makes it, or something along the lines of that, right?
As deep as your pockets are.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. So patent enforcement becomes a whole animal in and of itself. And it really just depends, like, how much money do you stand to make? You know, like in comparison to how much money legal fees are going to cost you if you go head to head with somebody. I mean, you could end up bankrupting each other, and then, you know, the only people that win are the attorneys. So, SCS it's an interesting one because, I mean, like, what could I do? What can I do? I mean, technically I can do anything I want to do. But for me, it was just kind of about picking your battles. And I really just viewed, going back to this, like this idea that the most detrimental component in scootering was a threaded fork. And the only way that scootering was ever going to get to the next level is if we completely eliminate threaded forks. That means that everybody in the industry had to adopt threadless forks and threadless technology. And I didn't want the whole sport to adopt ICS because ICS is a flawed system.
Yeah,
in my opinion. There's still some companies that do it, and technically it is lighter. It is lighter, but it's not, in my opinion, the best performing.
In comparison.
I'm gonna cut him off, bro. It's not good at all. Like, I promise you. Like, I don't have any foot in the game really, so I'm gonna go out and say it, dude. ICS is not it. I promise you, bro. Everybody that comes into the store, you already know, I literally will tell them SCS all day, every day, no matter what, dude. No matter what. Like, IHC, HIC is good. It does not compare to SCS, dude. And I'm not just saying that because, you know, big dog sitting next to me, but I'm telling you right now, dude, I've basically only rode SCS for most of my life. It's the best way to possibly put your scooter together. That's all there is to it, dude. That's all there is to it. I swear. Like, you want to save life on your lighter material bars? There you go. SCS, you're in the game. And it's all there is to it, bro. SCS is the best. I promise you. I swear.
So, that being said, it was going to be impossible for scootering to get to the next level without everybody adopting that. And so, you know, like when we were the only ones making it, we were making, you know, as much as we could keep up with, but like ultimately, like, and it like, we do have limitations with our manufacturing capacity. I mean, we manufacture in the United States. We're more expensive. Yeah. We have a higher attention to detail and quality, and our volume is lower than a lot of the big companies. And so when the sport really started booming, like there was just no way that we could keep up with the demand for threadless forks and SCS. So, you know, I didn't want to, like, I had something that I knew was going to help the sport, and I didn't want to, you know, become an enemy of the sport by stopping people from making it. Also companies, like the companies at the time were so small, like going back to like legal fees and stuff. It's like, the sport was so small at that time. It's like, what am I even fighting for? Yeah. Like if I were to fight for it or try to like enforce it and try to get royalties on it, and it's like, what is like the cost versus reward analysis on it? And it's just like, basically you like all that would have done is just hold the whole sport back as a whole. And you know, like at the same time, like we're talking about 2009, and so 2009 is pretty much like when I knew I had TDI. Like TDI was like in the back of my head, like this is what I want to be doing, like 2-piece deck. Like I like but by the time SCS came out, SCS was already kind of like old news to me, and I was already thinking about the future of my other designs.
Yeah, next plans.
Okay. Yeah, so like I'm looking at it, it's like, you know what? I have other stuff that I'm working on, so I'd rather have the sport flourish and get more riders involved, and, you know, just give them the building blocks that they need and everybody needs to, you know, get the sport bigger and stronger and more established. Because the bigger and stronger the sport is, when I come out with all this other stuff that I'm working on, I'll have a bigger market. You know, like there would be more riders,
more people, more people that actually were able to get parts from other brands and whatever. Yeah. Like, yeah, I know where you're coming from for sure.
Yeah, and R&D is like crazy expensive too.
So your time and all that kind of stuff too. It
so like
falls into that.
I can't like justify investing all of these years and dollars into the development of all these like systems of compatibility and like just all the stuff that I've been tinkering with all these years and like not be able to sell it. You know, the sport had to be big to be able to pay for all of the research and design that I've been doing. You know, like at the end of the day, I have to sell a product to be able to pay for all the work that I've done.
Right.
Because it does not come free.
Well, I think that's a good way to lead us into the next thing that we're curious about. I mean, you brought your scoot right here. You brought your new deck, the Saturn deck.
Yeah.
And it's become definitely something a lot of people are talking about right now, right? But I want to talk about just your TDI system, right?
Yeah.
my question for you, because everybody has their own views on every single part that's ever been made ever. But my question is, why in your mind is TDI the design of the future? What makes it something that is better than something else? That let's just for lack of a better example, it's something everybody can relate to, a one-piece deck. Why is that going to be around in the future?
Why is TDI going to be around in the future?
Yeah, like why is it the deck of the future, I guess is essentially what I'm asking.
Everything about it.
Like what?
It is infinitely customizable, infinitely replaceable. So now I say that, but obviously the compatible components have to be available on the market. And that has been one of the biggest roadblocks for us, going back to the expense of research and development and launching new products and doing it in relatively low volumes compared to the big brands. When you're trying to, like, TDI is not a deck. I think that's where people kind of get confused. It's a system. It's just like having a handlebar and an SCS and a fork and a compression bolt. Like, you need all those pieces to work together for SCS to work. Now, with TDI, you have to have the neck, you have to have the deck, you have to have the hardware, you have to have all the compatible components. So can you have any angle head tube? Yeah, but you have to make each of those angles.
Right.
But with a one-piece deck, you have to make each of those angles too. With the deck, you can have any length and any width that you want. You have to obviously make them and have them available for people to purchase and be able to interchange the components. But once those pieces are out there, the combinations start becoming exponential. So,
how exponential? That like are you just talking about like essentially like, because it's all a combination of a deck that you make and a head tube that you make. How far is exponential to you?
Okay, say for example, you ride for Envy. Envy just came out with 7 signature decks in 2 sizes each, right? For all of their signature riders.
Right.
So that's 14 models of one-piece deck, right?
Right.
So right now, Proto has... Oh, well, let me just take it back. If a shop wants to stock those 14 decks, they have to literally stock those 14 decks. Now, with TDI, right now we have 4 different sizes of the Eclipse, which is our 5.5. We've got 4 different sizes of the 6-inch wide, the Saturn. We also have the Space deck, which is... We kind of took it out of production to make way for the Eclipse, but we do have plans to bring it back in smaller youth sizes. It'll be re-released as the Space 3, and that'll be in a few different sizes. So, say 4 different sizes of a smaller size Space. So that's 3 different extrusions, 4 different sizes each. That's 12 different extrusions. And then we have our head tube. Right now we're only making 84 degrees, but it comes in 6 different colors right now. Mm-hmm. So we've got 6 different colors, 12 different deck extrusions. So if you multiply the possible combinations, there's 6 head tubes times 12 different decks. That's 30. What is that? Oh my God, my math. Here it was.
Don't look at me, bro. I'm the worst at numbers, so do not look my way.
Well, okay, let's
this is very
let's do the math.
It's very
real quick.
important. It's 72.
72.
Yeah.
So there's 72. We have 72 different possible combinations for decks right now. And if a shop wants to stock that, they only have to carry the 12 decks and the 6 necks. So they can stock 18 components, but they get 72 different possible deck combinations out of it. For a one-piece deck, to compete with that, a shop would have to carry 72 different one-piece decks. Instead of 18 components, you would have to carry 72. Like one-piece deck, it's a one-piece deck, so it's a 1-to-1 ratio. There is no flexibility. There is no customizability. So TDI allows a rider to build any setup they want with the catches, with the parts that are available on the market. So now that we started with the Orion, which was a 4-inch, a 4.5, and a 5-inch wide extrusion.
Okay.
It had wings on it, so we could like cut it down. We could trim it into different sizes.
Okay.
Then we came out with the Space, that was 5-inch. The Eclipse is the 5.5. The Saturn's the 6, and then we do have plans for bigger decks than that.
Sheesh.
Yeah, I mean that's always been the goal has always been to build the options to fill out the TDI ecosystem. It just takes a lot of time and money and resources and investment and R&D, and it's not just making it bigger. Like the wider a deck gets, you start running into geometrical problems, and you don't want to rush.
I see the picture. Like I see the picture you're trying to paint for sure. And as now a shop owner, like I can understand how that would be convenient.
Seriously.
But why? I guess why is it not more popular right now? But that's I know it's a hard question to answer, especially from someone that's creating it.
There's a number of reasons.
What do you think the main one is?
I mean,
is it the expense? Because it is essentially what you're trying to picture as like an investment almost?
It is an investment, yeah, and the necks are the most expensive part of the scooter. So, I mean, the way the system is designed, everybody accepts and knows that your deck extrusion will break. If you ride...
Yeah, it's every scooter.
Yeah. Every scooter
if you ride
will
your scooter,
break.
it will break.
If it's a two-piece TDI or if it's a welded one-piece deck, the extrusion will break. Now, there are companies out there that their necks break, which is crazy because the neck should be like hands down the strongest, most unbreakable part of the scooter. I mean, that is the heart of the scooter. The neck should never break. And Proto necks, I mean, I have seen probably... of production models sold to the public, like this newest model, the Orion TH, I've only seen one of these break, and these have been out for 3 years now. So
it's impressive. Like
it really is.
And the one guy that broke it like jumps off of
big old stuff.
It's like
huge.
new era zig short.
Yeah, and I was gonna say like a lot of decks, dude. Like most decks that do break are at the head tube. Like if your deck is not broken yet, if it's cracking or breaking, it's at the head tube most of the time. Not all the time, most of the time.
Now, breaking at the welds around
which
the head
I
tube,
meant though. Which I meant. That's what I was referring to. The welds
like
around the head tube. Yeah, I wasn't referring to but I was referring to the welds around the head tube. Correct.
Yeah. So essentially, like you're buying into the TDI system. So you have to get if you don't have a TDI neck, you have to get the neck in order to ride the deck.
Yeah.
But once you have the neck is, virtually good forever.
Yeah.
So are you trying to market this product to a specific demographic, to a specific age range? Because one of the things that I know is like 15-year-old or 13-year-old, I should probably go a little bit lower. 13-year-old Timmy comes in, he's got a Pandemonium, rides it, light as hell, snaps it, and he gets another one.
Keeps buying them.
And he's happy to do so. Granted, his mom and dad buy it, but they just simply don't care. And is that being said, are you just trying to make it to where it is cheaper for, I guess, somebody in the long run, and therefore trying to push it towards that demographic? Or are you trying to push it to everybody?
With the reputation of Proto, we're like the more historically, we've had every type of rider ride for the brand. Brandon Kilbury was like a full like technical big air park type dude. He's
my favorite rider.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Dude, it's crazy. Crazy.
But we've also had like super street guys, and like later in the history of the brand, we started getting more of that, I guess, Hesh street reputation.
Yeah.
And that appeals to, more of like the older dudes. And so I guess like that is kind of our appeal, is like the older guys that like the bigger, sturdier setup. So I think we probably have less appeal with the younger demographic, but that does not mean that TDI cannot be a solution for them. You know, like the products that I'm designing right now, obviously, like the biggest Saturn that we just came out with is 23.5 inches long. Like a kid's probably not going to ride that, you know. But that's why I was just talking about the Space 3. We're coming out with youth sizes. Now, it is an 84-degree head tube. Going to work with a youth size space deck? Probably not. So we're probably going to have to come out with like an 82.5 on the head tube. But when TDI first launched back in 2011, I think is when we I was riding my Mega Ramp scooter for Nitro Circus. That was a 6x22 83-degree head tube. I was riding that one in 2010. But they didn't. The Orion, like the production Orion, wasn't available till 2011, and that one came with an 83-degree head tube or an 81.5. It's like super slacked back, but that was pretty much like what the standard was back then, because we were basically like when you had a Razor Pro model and you bolted the folding mechanism, if you put a small bolt in the back, that was 81.5 degrees. And if you put a big bolt in the back and it rocked the head tube forward, that was 83 degrees. Whoa. So the original TDI geometry was based on the 2 bolt configurations on a Razor.
Dude. My brain just got juggled a little bit. Bro, I'm not even going to lie. I'm over here saying like, bro, my brain just got juggled. That's crazy.
You weren't around for that one.
I never thought about it.
You weren't around for that one.
Because I was there for like the bolted Pro models, dude, but I never put into consideration that the size bolt you use to bolt the specific size, specific part of the head tube was going to actually change.
Yeah. Full on, dude. It was
that's crazy.
Cool. Yeah,
wow.
People that wanted steeper bars back in the Razor days, you put a small bolt in the front and a big one in the back, and it shifted the head tube forward.
Dude, my mind is blown. I swear I've been riding since then, but like I never considered that. Yeah. My mind is blown.
So Razor, you know, like a Razor is more of like a kid, like a young, smaller rider. Like that's the type of scooter that, you know, that demographic is looking for. So, you know, like you have to remember that TDI is not a deck. TDI is not a deck. TDI is not a deck. It is a system. It can be anything that you want. This could be a rounded Mad Gear head tube with 3 holes in it. This could be an NV head tube. This could be an anybody head tube. And as long as it has these dovetails and those 3 holes, it's TDI. The deck could be anything. You know, the decks that I've been making are, like I said, you know, more street rider oriented, but there's absolutely no reason in the world why there can't be a full park deck profile. And a lot of that, like a lot of the things that make park decks today, most of it comes from the head tube geometry. So you just like tweak the geometry here, and most of the extrusions are pretty much the same. You know, there's not a lot of variety in extrusions these days. Everybody's riding like pretty much the same types of profiles.
It's close enough. It's within.
It's within like close enough. Exactly.
30%.
So for, you know, the younger demographic, you know, we're releasing the smaller size Space 3, and we'll probably come out with, you know, I think probably 82.5 is probably like a good sweet spot for like that smaller size scooter, smaller rider, a little bit slacked back. And also the farther slacked back the head tube angle is, it just makes it easier to whip and control. So for smaller riders, you know, the really steep head tubes on a small scooter for a little kid, like it's just too far forward for them.
Here's a question for you. With the way that some decks are going, decks are getting cheaper and cheaper depending on the brand, of course. How are you going to answer to that? How are you going to answer to brands that are coming out with a 6x22 for $160?
And do you actually want to, though? Is another part of that question. Like, do you actually want to, or do you think that everything you're making is just too much of a higher grade to even almost, curve it almost like just to get with the other companies and stuff.
I am not trying to race to the bottom with Proto. I'm trying to race to the top. So I'm not going to compromise our quality. I'm not going to compromise our construction, our materials, none of that. Proto is premium. And because it is. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
Like, we really do everything to the best of our ability. So am I trying to compete with those cheaper products? No, I'm not trying to. But I do think that the product could be made cheaper by more streamlined manufacturing. So I actually went back to school. Never thought I would do that because
what school? What's that? Never heard of it.
Community college down in Vista, San Marcos, actually.
Palomar.
Let's
go, bro. Palomar. That's where I went, bro. I lived super close to you. When I was like 19, I moved down there, and I was super close. Actually, I'm getting off the rails again, dude. That's what I'm here for. But I lived right across the street from that gas station rail that Zach did in one of his videos. I'm not too sure, but it's rail. It's probably like a 10 stair, maybe 10 at least, dude. It was pretty big with the big kink at the end. Yes, Melrose? Right across the street, dude.
Yep.
Yeah, I lived right there, bro. I won't get into it, bro. I was gonna say I'll get into it, but nah, I'll get off the rails, dude. It's all bad over there.
Yeah. So our manufacturing, we do a lot of stuff in house, but we still have a network of vendors and suppliers in the United States that we work with. They're all local, all Southern California, and I love and appreciate them. But anything that you outsource, even if it's locally, there's still a markup on everything. So, really the only way to compete with imported products, which basically every single scooter company with the exception of TSI is made in the United States. Mm-hmm. Apex is made in Australia. Raw is made in France. And there's one other one. Racy is made in Russia, I believe. That's actually Russian made.
Okay.
They're the only brands that are actually doing domestic manufacturing. Everybody else is outsourcing to Asia. So the only way to compete with that type of price structure is to bring as much as you can possibly bring in-house. So, my goal has always been to have the Proto factory, the River factory, TGE distribution, like my umbrella, like to have our facility be every single step of manufacturing under one roof. And that takes so much time and so much money and really so much knowledge. I was just a scooter kid that had visions of really cool parts and didn't know how to make them. And I've self-taught almost this entire time, or gotten jobs at machine shops to, learn these things. Or I was I was a production welder learning how to weld. That's where I learned how to TIG weld and started TIG welding handlebars and forks. I was on the job learning, but there kind of comes a certain point where you reach this threshold where as much as you can learn, you've pretty much already learned, and your progression kind of starts to slow down. So going back to your question, how do we get this product line to compete with those cheaper imported products? It's to bring everything in house. And that requires bringing a full CNC machine shop. We already have some CNC equipment, but my skill level is not that of a production level CNC shop. So I went back to school at Palomar, and they've got a pretty cool new machine technology program there. So I was full-time for 4 classes this past semester, and
That's
then I'll
sick, dude.
do 3 more classes next semester for CAM programming. So there's CAD, computer aided design. That's where you draw your parts and your 3D models. And then CAM is computer aided machining. So that's where you take your model and then assign tool paths for the machine to cut. And then obviously you have to know how to physically operate the machine. So there's a lot that goes into it, but that is, those are the baby steps, trying to bring more and more and more and more in-house. But, it's time, it's money, it's resources, and it's your skill set. So I'm just, every single day, I'm just constantly trying to expand my skill set.
So my next question is, to basically, if you made this move, it would lighten your load, right? So why haven't you made the jump to just manufacture everything in Asia? Is it the actual specific part, like the love and care you put into every single part that you do? Like, what has held you back from just starting to manufacture in Asia? Like, what's like the biggest part of it?
Oh,
it's the Andrew. That's literally the answer right there, bro. No, like it's
so many ways to answer that question. I think ultimately, number one, I love manufacturing. I really, really love manufacturing. I love going out, getting filthy, greasy, dirty, bleeding, smashing my fingers on the machine, learning how to set it up, making the tooling, making the jigs, making the fixtures, like visualizing and conceptualizing the workflow and putting a production line together, going from raw material to a finished product.
Yeah, man.
I love it. I love it. I literally, never stop creating.
Yeah,
that is like my motto. Like, I will die on that hill. Like, I want to be hands-on. And you lose that. You lose that when you outsource. All you're doing is like drawing a part on a computer, and it might be a great part, a fantastic part, a wonderful part. You send it out somewhere, and they figure out all the steps, all the dirty details to make that a reality. Yeah. But this is the one thing that a lot of people overlook is, in order to be the best possible designer, you have to understand how things are physically being made.
Yeah.
Because you can draw something on the computer and it'll look sick. Yeah. Like, it'll be like the craziest, coolest looking part, but there might be one little feature on there that is
impossible
to actually machine that.
Yeah.
Or maybe not impossible, but extremely time intensive. Like maybe 90% of the work on this part is done in 5 minutes.
Yes,
but
that's not.
But then there's 15 minutes left to like carve out this little tiny feature. Mm-hmm. So like knowing the capabilities of the machines that are actually going to be making this stuff, the size of the cutters, the diameter of the cutters, the fixturing, like how the part is being held while the metal is being cut, and making sure you have all the right clearances and that you're not putting some weird feature in an obscure place that's going to be unreachable by a tool, which will require a second setup, which will require double the handling. Double the handling is double the cost. There's certain things that, if you're not hands-on, you just totally lose sight of like the cold, hard manufacturing, like the reality of making the stuff. And so not only do I enjoy that, it also, I believe, helps me be a better designer and ensure higher levels of quality. And also, there's just a lot of stuff in the market that really sucks to work on. Like when I had Freestyle Depot, like Scooter Resource had the SR store. SR store evolved into Freestyle Depot. Like, we had a storefront in San Diego, retail storefront. I worked on every brand of scooter in there. Like, I personally was changing wheels.
Yeah, you would have to.
I have seen everything under the sun in the scooter world. Like, I've physically worked on it because I owned a retail shop, and like, you can just tell the difference between people who have seen the machines and been hands-on with the machines and know what they're building, and people that haven't. So you can just see it. You can feel it.
Well, you could still see it today too, though, because even the part selections that come in to me that I'm looking at and working on, it's still there. It's like, it's almost like, to me, I take a scooter back, right? And I'm kind of thinking like, kind of trying to like make a picture in my mind, like how this kid rides or why he bought this part or has this part on, and it's just like a lot of almost just like you don't know what you're buying kind of thing, so like they buy certain parts just like that don't match up with certain kind of, forks or whatever. But there's always I feel like there's in scootering, there's a level of scootering that just is not tapped into, where you're actually focusing on why I'm buying this deck, why I'm buying these grips, why I'm buying these wheels. It's more of like a he said, she said kind of thing in the sport. So I'm just thinking like, what would make you personally buy a part off the market if you necessarily didn't make it? Like, what would make a part more appealing to you if you necessarily didn't make it?
Probably just like the concept of it. Maybe not even necessarily. I mean, quality is important, but you can have a really high quality part that's got a really terrible design.
Yeah.
Like, quality doesn't necessarily mean it was well thought out.
Right.
It just means that you made a bad design really good. And that exists.
Oh, yeah.
That exists. Like, there's some really high quality garbage out there.
Let me tell you.
Somebody that like really put some thought into it, because I mean, you can see which brands,
you can tell,
just look at what's out there
Yeah.
and just like copy paste.
Yeah.
The worst is when you copy and you don't even get it right.
Yeah.
It's like somebody already did it right. All you had to do was look at what they were doing and copy. Like, at least if you're going to copy it, do it right. But like, that doesn't even always happen. So, I mean, just like original designs where people really like put some thought into it. And that is pretty rare out there.
I for sure would agree. Like I said,
sure.
my toes are in the water in the scene, but I can definitely tell who's making moves for their own passion and making moves for their wallet. If that made any kind of sense.
No, it does.
I really don't make sense very much, but I would
sense.
say there's for sure brands out there that you can really tell that love scootering and want to see scootering proceed and keep going. And there's also brands out there that want to get the buck. And they want to make the buck right now, and let me get that.
Well, you need those people too. Like, let's be real. Like, you need
you have to have the entry level.
You have to.
Yeah.
There's simply no way around it, because people cannot afford to go out and spend $400 on a branded, because scootering would have died a long time ago. Like we needed the Ultra Pro. We need the little mag gear. We need the entry level 1S3, but we also need the high end scoots that are $600 for people that are throwing crazy things and doing whatever the hell it is that they want to do down massive steps. You need those. And I have another thing. I want to go back. I just want to step on this one more time, just because I'm curious. You've made a lot of things, and obviously everything's been American made, with the exception of small parts, of course. Bearings
and bolts,
headsets, little things like that.
Yeah, I mean that type.
Like,
of
it's
stuff
obvious. You just can't do it here. It's just there's nobody that here that can actually even. I mean, I'm sure there's factories that can do it, but they simply aren't going to offer it to you at a proper price point. At least for you to be even in the same realm as every other headset we have in the store right here.
No,
right?
Astronomically expensive if you do it in
the
States.
Right.
Yeah.
With that though, why not keep like a space deck? Okay, and continue to make that here, and continue to have your hands on it while having a one-piece deck that is made overseas, to where you can be in that realm, and just have more people ride a Proto branded deck. And because you say that you see all these brands that make things incorrectly, at least, and they're not to a standard, right? And especially something that you're looking at. Why not make something else that's just, it's still Proto, it's just not what Proto's done forever?
I have principles that I will not deviate from. That's just not the brand that Proto is.
It's just not what you're after.
I believe that there is one true standard for scootering, and that is what Proto is prototyping. Like the mission of Proto is to figure out what the best scooter is. And
that's everybody's mission, isn't it? To an extent.
You would think. You would hope so.
To an extent.
You would hope so.
It's just there's different areas that they're looking at. Like there's obviously everybody's looking to do the best for this, right? Like
no, they're not. They're and again, like just going back to what you said, I just want to preface this because I totally agree that we need the entry level price point scooters, but we also need the high end stuff, and we need the mid range in between. But there are very few brands out there that are really seeking to standardize. Standard is like, I mean, literally the SCS, standard compression system. I named it the Standard because I wanted it to become the standard. It became the standard. It didn't become the standard because I said it was the standard. It became the standard because it solved the problem so well that nothing else can compete with it. So that's what I'm trying to do with TDI. And TDI in and of itself is a system of components. So, there's a lot to tackle there. Mm-hmm. But there are other components that are not present here today that I cannot discuss. But there is more like in the works that I do believe can further standardize scootering. Now, I think a lot of people think like, oh, scootering's like 20 years old now, like whatever it is now, we must have reached our final form. And I could not disagree more. I think there is still more to come. There is still more change. There is still more standardization. Like until every scooter on the market is using the same size axles, the same size bearing spacers, the same size everything, where you can take any component off of any scooter and interchange it, until that day happens, we are not standardized and we are not where we need to be yet.
But couldn't you say that people are trying to do that, but they're just trying to do it in their own way, like almost their own way? For example,
well,
here's an example for you, right? SCS has been around for days, forever, right? What about like let's just take like an IHC compression. Like isn't that just another form of somebody trying to create another standard just in another light? Couldn't you argue that?
Yeah. Like each brand, like within each brand's family of products, they are loosely standardized. The SCS is the only true standards that scootering has is our axle diameter, not length, diameter, our bearing size,
bars,
the two different handlebar diameters, the diameter of our fork, our headset. Those are standards. Those are interchangeable with everything. But even there's still discrepancies, say, with the length of a fork tube. Some fork tubes are too long and you need to ride headset spacers, which anybody watching this, if you have headset spacers on your scooter, take them off. And if your setup doesn't work with headset spacers, then replace the parts that are causing the problem. Do not ride headset spacers. It is so sketchy, so dangerous. It creates a weak point under your clamp, in between your clamp and your headset. Don't do it. Stop. It's like you might as well put a threaded fork back on.
I'm going to expose it.
Who?
I'm name dropping, okay?
Who?
This is just me alone. Disregard the other two. If you have a lucky fork and you do not have a lucky deck, your fork will not work the right way. That is all I'm saying. That is all I have to say. I promise you.
It wasn't me.
Your fork tube is too long for the head tube, and it's not going to work, and you're going to have spacers to the moon. That's all I got to say.
Spacers work, but it really does create a huge weak point.
Don't do it. You'll snap it.
I want to talk about another thing that we mentioned in the introduction, and a lot of people know that you're tied to it, and a lot of people know that you founded it, and it's River. Tell us about River. What I know River's come a long way, and I remember when you first created River, which was back in the very first time I rode with the whole Nitro crew, which again is another thing that you're a part of. Tell us about River, though.
Yeah, River was kind of crazy. River came about totally different than Proto. Proto just kind of naturally evolved into what it was, but River was very, very, very premeditated. I knew I wanted to do something different outside of Proto, because literally Proto wheels, like the 5-spoke Proto wheel, is the Proto logo. It will never change.
Right.
It will never change.
100%.
But I didn't want to be, limited to the Proto wheel forever. And I was like, well, we got pretty good at making wheels. We make a lot of wheels.
Yeah.
I mean,
if I do say so myself, I would highly agree with that, dude. I would highly agree.
So I just figured, why not try a separate wheel brand? It gave me the freedom to experiment with a different core design, a different urethane profile, and then probably like one of the coolest things about it is we were able to start a team and sponsor riders who we couldn't with Proto, but we could if it's only a wheel sponsor.
Right.
So the original team, we had Matt McKean, Stefan Hefner, Hep Greg, and your little bro.
My little bro. Yeah. Shout out.
Ryan Gould.
Oh,
yeah.
Gosh.
Dude, that's crazy, man. And honestly, just, bro, sitting next to you, has that nostalgia be hitting hard. But right when you said Hep Greg and all those guys, I'm just flashback of instant colorways and everything, dude. And I'm telling you, Hep Greg's colorway was honestly by far probably one of like the sickest colorways, the most different colorways. Honestly, now that I think about it, your first, every color that you've ran through obviously is its own originality, but I would say the first run of River wheels, dude, by far are probably the most unique, definitely the sickest, best wheels I've ever rode in my entire life. So what really inspired, was it like the difference of it, or was it almost just like an add-on of what you've already done kind of thing?
Like, is just as far as like the design of the wheel?
Yeah, a little bit design and performance too. So did you want to make something similar but different from the Proto wheel? Obviously that looked different but rode the same, or did you want to do different in both? Like you want a whole entire different aspect, a whole different test that's going to, wake you up every day, and it's going to, really test you and see if you can, actually, because your Proto wheel is literally by far the best wheel I've ever ridden. So how did you possibly think that you could make a wheel that was better or just as good as a Proto without it being the same at all?
I mean, the differences are, there are differences.
No, for sure. 100%.
There are differences,
no,
but they are minute, because I mean, you can't, like Proto did it really, really well. Like we did it really well with Proto. Well. So you don't want to try and start something new and then fall short of the expectation. You want to see if you can actually like exceed what the standard that you already set for yourself, or that I set for myself.
In which I truly think you did above and beyond that, to be honest with you. I didn't think it was going to get much better than the Proto wheel, because the Proto wheel is by far the best wheel I had ridden prior, which I still think it is top tier level wheel today. But dude, I'm telling you, dude, the River wheels, like they're both very good wheels, but it just kills it, dude. I mean, all aspects of you've always killed it, performance and aesthetic wise, and both your wheels by far do both and beyond, if that makes any kind of sense.
Yeah, I mean, River, I again, going back to, like the Proto street appeal, like more just like rugged, heavy duty stuff. I wanted something that was like a little more elegant, a little also lighter, because I mean, the park scene is huge in scootering, and so many park riders love Rivers. So I think we kind of nailed that. Yeah. So, I mean, it is a slightly lighter wheel, not by a whole lot, but it is a little bit lighter. But so if you look at both Proto and River, they both say buff core technology.
Mm-hmm.
So that,
that's an Andrew thing right there, bro. That's an Andrew ass saying, bro. Buff core technology.
Well, so remember, like everybody called me Buff. Like that was like my nickname early on in the sport. I don't really hear it anymore. It was like definitely like Catalyst days.
Yeah.
But I think Elmer was the first one that started calling me Buff.
Holy smokes!
And that name
was before that, wasn't it?
Holy smokes!
It was before Elmer was on the team. That's for sure. It was pre-Proto, bro. That was way back.
So Elmer was on Scooter Resource. So,
was he?
So the original Proto team was the Scooter Resource team. So when I was making SR parts, Anthony Bustos, Twan, was actually the first person that I ever sponsored. And then,
dude.
So basically, and he was a park rider. Like the first 3 people that I ever sponsored were they were park riders, but they ended up filming street video parts, but they were park riders and they got sponsored by taking podiums in park competitions. So Twan took 2nd place at SD 2.
Damn.
Something like that.
Damn.
And then Brian Murphy, or no, what was it? Twan, and then I think it might have been Brandon. Brandon Kilbury was 2nd, and so Twan was the first person on the Scooter Resource Pro team. Then Brandon Kilbury took, I think he also took like 2nd place at one of the TIC comps, the Incline Club out in Jersey. And I went out there for that. And that's actually when I met Elmer the first time and met like the whole Scoo York crew out there.
Sure.
I think that was like one of my first East Coast trips too. And that was probably like 2007. And then Brian Murphy came out for, I think it was SD3, the next SD.
Right.
And he took, I think it was like all 2nd places maybe, if I remember correctly. But I think he took like 2nd or 3rd place at one of the SDs, and so basically I was looking at is like what unsponsored riders are gonna rank the highest, and then I'm gonna like grab them.
You know, you want to hear a funny story, bro? I tried to get on Proto team and I got denied.
Oh,
I got denied,
son.
Because I was too park.
Oh,
yeah, why are you turning so red over there, bro?
Come on, son.
It's true.
You put him on the spot, bro.
Andrew,
you put him on the spot, bro. You're gonna do him like that,
bro. He's redder than this cup.
True.
Oh,
I got
man.
denied.
Ray could have been Proto.
I got denied, bro.
Oh man.
Twan pushed hard for you to get on Proto, but by that time, so that the first 3 like Scooter Resource pros, Twan, BK, and Murphy, then like the next generation, which was like 2000, so that was like 2007. Then 2008, I was like, okay, I have my pro team. I want to like bring up like the next level. Like I'm gonna build my AM team, and so the AM team was Dylan Casson, Alex Stedman, and Elmer Ferreras.
Damn.
So they were the 3 AMs. And so that was in 2008. And so that's probably when Twan was trying to pitch.
I was pre-Murphy.
Were you?
Yeah, because Murphy got on and I was pissed.
Oh,
I was like, that bitch.
I can't believe you did him like put him on the spot, bro.
I was,
Come on, son.
It's true. It's true. I think about that because I'm just like damn.
Hindsight,
Imagine
baby.
Raymond Warner with a Proto.
Hindsight, baby. Hindsight, baby. Let me tell you.
Vlogs.
Shoot.
Yeah, we definitely went in very different directions. But here we are, back together.
Hey, come on, son. We never
full
left.
circle, baby.
We still cool. We still cool.
That just gets me, because dude, I'm not gonna lie right now. Catalyst and Armageddon were probably by far my most enjoyable ever scooter DVDs, long videos to ever watch my entire existence of scootering, even to this day. Now, if you do not mind me asking, my friend, what is the best, not the best era, but what is probably like the most favorite era of your brands? Past, present, future, what would you possibly say like is maybe like your most memorable, just for you personally, as a brand owner, if you had one?
it would definitely be the Catalyst era.
That was a good one.
Like that
fire.
That first Catalyst. Like I think we talked about this earlier. You know, like what was like the biggest milestone of Proto? Just Proto becoming Proto.
Yeah.
Like that. Just like the fact that I just like decided like I'm gonna start a freestyle scooter company in an industry that doesn't exist and see what happens. Like that was huge.
And you did it, bro.
And then like
you did it.
Bringing in a team of like-minded individuals, like, you know, you hear people talk about like, oh, our team's like family, and it's like, no, like the Catalyst team,
you
like,
could tell
the Catalyst team was something so different, and I don't know if like any team in scootering will ever be that tight.
I highly agree with that too, dude. I seriously, I highly agree with that. It just seemed the whole team meshed. Everybody was on one page. Everybody was on one page with completely different styles. Exactly.
Like, the Catalyst was the most eclectic group. Like, I didn't want a team of people who all rode exactly the same, like a bunch of like copycat robots.
Yeah.
I wanted Proto and I wanted Catalyst to show what was possible on a scooter in the street, in the park, doing grinds, doing aerial maneuvers, flips, spins, scooter flips. Like, I wanted people to see everything. Like, this is what scootering as a whole has to offer. Now, granted, we like filmed a lot of it in the streets, and that's kind of like where like Proto started getting that street reputation. But like I said, my first 3 pros took podiums in the biggest park events, and then I sponsored them with Scooter Resource. Then the AMs were the street guys. And then when Proto started, I took all of those guys and moved them to Proto, because I basically, you know, like when Proto started, SR Parts, like Scooter Resource Parts, was dead. Like it turned into Proto, and those guys moved to the Proto team, and then it just kind of like they all were just the Proto team. And then we added Dan Barrett, John Reyes,
Father Time,
Steven Sanchez,
bro.
And then last but certainly not least, and still our oldest pro on the team, Chema Cardenas.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. The GOAT, bro. The damn GOAT.
So, I mean, you've had some of the most stacked teams in scootering. For example, the Catalyst. One of my favorite videos, I was at the premiere. I've been at every premiere for Proto. I've been at every scooter premiere, at least most of them locally. But that was definitely like one of my favorite teams, even though I wasn't a part of it. but
you were with us in spirit.
Stop it.
You still are, bro.
I was in the stands. But what happened throughout the past couple years? What has happened to the Proto team?
So much could be said. So much is going to stay water under the bridge. All I can really say on that is that everybody rides for different reasons. Everybody are attracted to different brands for different reasons. And a lot of people have expectations, and sometimes they're realistic, sometimes they're not. Sometimes things just don't work out, and you know, teams get built and teams get torn down and teams change and teams evolve, and that is just the nature of the beast. Like, teams are
everything,
not,
man.
Yeah,
soccer,
everything.
baseball, basketball, it literally is the same with everything.
Yeah, so I've had a lot of people over the years, and you know, I mean, really, Chema's, you know, I still basically talk to virtually everybody in Catalyst, some way more than others, but like probably at least, I don't go probably more than a year without talking to at least everybody that was involved with Catalyst. Like that connection is something kind of different that I don't know if I'll ever have that again with anybody. It was just like such a formative period of my life and in the sport, and but the rest of the guys that have come and gone, you know, they all contributed great things to the brand, and they all went their separate ways, as everybody else has. And everybody has their own reasons, and that's kind of how she goes.
Yeah.
And we just keep looking for more passionate, unique riders. I really I don't believe that I've ever sponsored a bad rider. I have never sponsored a bad rider.
It's amazing to hear, dude, because I would hope they're speaking of you the same way you're speaking of them. But there's some people in the sport that are not as thankful as others, and maybe as thankful as you are, to have that time and period in their life and stuff. And I would just truly hope that the people that you're speaking of right now would just say the same things about you, because I truly think everything in that era was beautiful, and I still think your brand and everything is beautiful. And I truly hope that people do realize what you give back to the sport is amazing. And I truly hope that team during the Catalyst days, that you have another team that gives back to you just as much as you still give back to the sport, if that makes any sense, because you do give a lot of your life and everything. I don't really know you too much, but listening to you talk and watching you just, present yourself, it's truly amazing, just because, like you said, you started the sport when it was nothing, and, scootering still really isn't where we want it to be, and you're still going hard, bro. So I truly hope that the guys that were on that team at that time would sit here on this couch, if they were able to, and talk the same way that you are talking about them, because I truly believe it's beautiful, bro. No matter what happened at the end of the day, right or wrong, you're still talking them all up, gassing them up, and I truly hope that the same guys that you're talking about would do the same for you, bro, because seriously, I truly think they should, and I hope they would too.
I would hope so too, with some time to reflect on the past. And just, I guess, with age, you get perspective.
Yeah.
And I think, youth brings a lot of naivety.
Yeah.
And age brings a lot of maturity and perspective. So, and that goes for me just as much as it goes for anybody else.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I spend a lot of time reflecting on everything.
As I hope everybody else would too, because I do the same thing, no matter what it is, scootering, high school you went to, the homework you did last night. Like, I hope everyone sits back and reflects about every action they've made, because every action you make every single day is possible to look back on. Maybe should I have done it this way? Should I have done it better? Should I have treated someone better? In the whole nine. So, it's just sick to hear, because at the end of the day, I know without you even saying it, you could sit here and, bash a lot of guys for the way they've treated you and talked to you and stuff like that. But I truly do appreciate everything you've done for the sport, and the way you're even talking to the guys that maybe necessarily wouldn't reciprocate that. Now, my next question is, because I'm being very selfish, if you had to sit down and watch a part or watch someone ride in person, who would it be? Past, present, future, doesn't matter. Who would it be? Prime or not, doesn't matter. And they could have been a part of your team. I would like someone from your team, and then maybe someone that you wish you could have had, or maybe,
like
kind of
me, someone
like me. Raymond Warner.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Raymond Warner's street video part. Jeez.
Bro, I'm saying, I told him, bro,
go buy a VX.
Bigger size deck
Lord,
with the
bro.
thermal bars.
I'm going to be filming that video with a 1DX and a GoPro. That's what I'm going to have.
Yeah. With the Will Scott back lip down the 20 stair.
Nah, it's like...
Yeah. Somebody on my team?
Bro, if you tell me my little brother right now, I'm going to get up and leave. Don't say him. Do not say him. I'll leave. Just kidding.
Your brother is really extremely talented.
Yeah, he
makes
bro.
everything he does look
nice.
so clean. He is a pleasure to watch.
Just kidding. Just kidding, bro. Just kidding.
Man, who?
Not to put you on the spot, dude.
No, that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for, I guess. I'm just trying to think. Current team lineup? Current team?
Anything. Literally anything. I'm not going to lie. I don't know his name, but his Instagram name is Captain High, and he's on your team right now. Bro, he's a dog. He's nasty. He's unreal. And Philip, too. Philip's gross too, bro. They're both disgusting. They're nasty.
We have a
love watching both of them.
Super stacked Europe team, and those guys are all
dude, they're dogs, bro. And even like I said, I don't know names, so I'm sorry.
Stan.
Sir Lancelot is nasty
Tyrese.
too. I didn't meet him I met him because I was with him and Ryan at the street jam, and he came up and he was like giving him kudos and stuff. And I was like, bro, like, dude, that's Sir Lancelot, bro. He's nasty. Like, I never know how to approach these guys, dude, because I want to be like, bro, you're honestly gross. Like, nice to meet you. But it's like, I'm just like standing over by afar. I'm like, damn, I see your Instagram. I see your videos, bro. You're nice.
He's
gross. He's nasty, bro. He got dummy tricks, dude.
He just like, I don't know how to explain it other than he just like handles it.
Yeah,
like whatever it is he's doing,
nice.
he just handles it.
Yeah.
He's super fun to watch.
He's sick, dude. Captain High's got probably the nastiest style that I'm looking at right now. I'm not gonna lie, bro.
Yeah,
I watch his clips on Instagram every day. I'm like, damn, he's nice.
I don't know.
He's nice.
We got some guys on the team right now that I mean, all the people who have ridden for the brand before, you know, that like I said, like I've always like looked for like it's freestyle. So I want people to ride however they want to ride. I don't want them to ride like anybody else. So I've always tried to pick like really unique styles, and you know, everybody that we've had ride for the brand was I enjoyed watching everybody ride in whatever way they chose. And you know, the new generation is the same. I mean, all the guys you just mentioned, I mean, they're awesome to watch. We've got Alex Montserrat out there too. He's got super unique style, super creative, super extremely passionate about scootering, which is also something that I really, really appreciate.
By far.
Absolutely.
And that's easy to tell by every team you've ever made, even to now, dude. Like, it's not guys that just are good. They're guys that ride scooters, and they ride every day. You know, you don't have to do everything spectacular every single day, but as long as you take pride in your work and your work ethic on the scooter, it really shows, though. It really does show through every team, dude, because like I said, like, the guys that you've put on your teams, River, Proto, they ride. They ride to ride. They don't ride for this and that. They don't ride for free parts. They don't ride for this and that. They ride to ride because they like scootering. And it's almost just like comes as like a bonus. You know what? You know, I'm good enough, and I'm a good enough guy, good enough character, good enough role model, you know, to be put in this situation, you know, because you could be good at scootering, but at the end of the day, you kind of want someone that's going to be able to be looked up to, you know. You don't want someone who's going to be a meathead and go to the skate park and act a fool, but do nice tricks, you know. You want someone to be relatable, respectful, and kind of look up to. And every team that you've put together and still put together, it really does show. Truly, it really does show. For someone that actually does like scootering and watches scootering, if you like the sport in general, that's easily seen without your teams, which I really respect too.
Either I'm picking people with that mindset, hopefully, or they're feeding off of what I'm putting out there. I don't know what it is, but I have been super fortunate. And the guys that we got, I was just thinking Michael Assad. I just had like a flash of his inverted hand plants.
Dude.
One tooth wonder.
Bro, okay.
Dude, that is
I'm an
just
Instagram
like,
name kind of guy. I'm not gonna lie.
He knows exactly what you're talking about,
One
bro.
tooth wonder, bro. I almost flew out of my seat just now, bro. He's nasty. Nasty.
I got a little
all
something.
aspects, bro. He just be doing heel clickers and stuff, bro.
Edmund
Crazy.
Tagalog too. He's like our new hometown hero. So we
had
had
the
Zach,
San Diego homie, huh?
Yeah, Zach
Yes,
Martin.
bro.
We still have. He's like doing
Family stuff.
life
Yeah,
stuff.
man.
He got
Dude, it's
married. His
crazy.
wife's in the Air Force. He's like working
doing his thing, man.
Yeah, working on a career, which I mean, like that's just the reality. You know, I'm not going to kick you off because you're growing up. He's been down for the brand forever, and
That gap to board slide next level.
yeah. So I mean,
Gap to board slide, boy.
but yeah, Edmund is like our new like local dude. He's kind of
bro.
like lesser known, but he's
definitely
he's
seriously.
super sick.
Nasty.
Yeah, he's
Super
nasty.
sick.
I see him all over Proto, bro. He's nasty. Nasty. I really like that you still do, you know, support your own city and everything like that. Just like Zach too, homegrown guy.
I'm trying to like push an SD more,
dude.
I want to get like more like just hometown blood going again.
That's tight.
No, dude, it's still big over there. I still see a lot of guys now. I don't necessarily agree with some of the guys' viewpoints on scootering over there. I think a lot of guys over there have small minds and I don't know. I want to say they're guys. They're definitely the younger group over there that's coming
doing
up. Doing their own thing. But I think they bring that weird skate mentality to the sport where if you don't do things the way they do it, then it's whack.
Which is also antithesis. Whack. That's the antithesis of freestyle.
I think it's whack. That
like freestyle means the freedom to do whatever you want, however you want, wherever you want, ride what you want, wear what you want, listen to what you want, edit the way you want, do whatever you want. That is freestyle.
Yeah, man,
absolutely.
And like, who embraces the freedom the most? Like, are you a conform style or are you a freestyle?
Yeah,
I don't want conform style. I want freedom.
Yeah.
So throughout the past couple of years, I know like your brands have kind of gotten some negativity kind of surrounded through them, right? How did that affect River?
River's held pretty strong, pretty steady. The riders that we have on River, the cool thing about River is that it's only a wheel sponsor. Mm-hmm. So, like relatively speaking, the expectations from riders to a sponsor who only supplies essentially one component, their expectations are lower and I guess more realistic of what the brand can do for them. And also at the same time, puppy
Marlo's Barkley, here
Marley
she is.
Hello.
She was barking at him earlier, and now he's his best friend.
Hi,
that was messed up.
You ready for this interview?
She's about to attack this dude earlier.
You ready for this interview? Tell him what you really think.
Let him know, Marley.
Tell him what you feel.
Yeah, so most of the guys that ride for River, because we are only a wheel sponsor, they ride for other companies. And a lot of these guys ride for some of the biggest brands, and those brands do have high expectations of them. So they're already kind of on that. They're kind of just on a different level, because they really they're already working with bigger brands that expect like certain things out of them. And so I don't really River doesn't have to ever really enforce anything on our team because they're already kind of like a higher caliber of rider in a professional sense.
Okay.
Not necessarily. I'm not talking about higher, they're better riders. They do better tricks than my other team.
Meaning they actually ride almost.
No, they're all almost they are a face of scootering.
It's how they conduct themselves.
Right.
So I always say the biggest thing that differentiates an AM from a pro is not your riding ability. It's not your tricks. It's your mentality. It's your mindset. It's how you carry yourself, how you promote yourself, how you interact with your sponsors, your fan base. And that could be just literally as something as simple as the kids at your local skate park, how you treat these people. And that is really what separates the difference between an amateur and a professional.
Exactly.
I think that gets lost too, the terminology.
For sure.
Everybody throws around am, pro, am.
Well, because they see it on TV. They see it on TV. They're like, oh, he's a pro skater. He's just good.
Yeah, but pro literally means professional.
Yeah.
Am literally means amateur.
Yeah.
You're an amateur. You're not a professional yet.
In all aspects of the sport.
The word.
All aspects of the sport, not just riding, not just. It's how you conduct yourself on and off the scooter, bro. When you show up to the skate park without your helmet on, how you're interacting with the people, and then how you interact with the people while your helmet's on in the skate park. It's the same thing. You have to conduct yourself in an orderly manner, or you're not gonna get anything from it, dude. I get all these calls and stuff like, how do I get this? How do I get that? It's like, there's no right or wrong answer to it. You just do it. And
it's what you put in.
Yeah, dude.
It's what you put in. Like, you get out what you put in. Like, you can't sit there asking for things, expecting things. Like, you have to put in to get a return.
Yeah. I mean, I can't tell you the amount of people that I rode with on the same team, and I'm thinking like these guys are just, they're happy to be a part of a team, and I hear that they got the boot because they just instantly started demanding things.
Yeah, well, how many pros have you guys worked with, or rode with that don't have the same ideals, and they get gassed because of it? Like, you get canned because of it, bro. Like, you cannot, like, your skill will take you so far, but your mindset and your work ethic will take you way farther.
Way
farther, dude. It's way more than just what you do on the scooter.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, dude. Like,
Chema is a perfect example of that.
Yeah, and
Chema is one of the hardest working dudes in scootering that I know. I'm not saying, like, I mean, there's a lot of people that I don't have, like, super close connections with. I mean, the scooter community is big. Like, there's lots of people all over the world. So I'm not trying to say, like, Chema's better than everybody, but maybe.
I mean, in your eyes, though, dude, like, I'm not going to lie to you, dude. I'm on the same boat with you. Like, Chema's the dude. He's the dude.
I mean, dude, he knows everywhere. What to do in front of the camera, behind the camera, editing. I mean, the dude
in
has
the business
edited
office, like,
does
it all.
He
promotes
the brand. He supplies parts in Mexico. He films his dude. Like, he has a team in Mexico.
Yep.
Like, he rides for Proto. But so Chema has Keen Death. That's like it started as a clothing brand back in the day, but now he's using Keen Death to basically, it's kind of like
show some love to other riders.
Yeah,
dude. It's kind of like, I guess you could call it like a production company. Like, he's like putting on events down there. He's filming and editing videos. So it's just like turned into like this like scooter promotion and team, just promoting scootering in Mexico, and he's like running all of that. And so that's actually, I don't know if you saw the caption on his his signature neck announcement.
So
about
that thing goes so hard
because that's like the Keen Death logo, hard. And so like Proto and Keen Death, we've got, there's Chema has riders down in Mexico that we're basically like collaborating with. So like Chema rides for Proto, but then there's dudes that ride for Chema. So
they go hard, bro.
He has kind of like a little like satellite team in Mexico, and so that's kind of like
they go hard.
Like, he is kind of like, I guess you could say, like filtering or like grooming some Mexican riders to potentially like,
which is sick, dude,
work their way onto Proto.
Sick.
So
giving him like a shot and like a little bit of light.
Yeah,
shedding light on the scene, dude.
But like the filter that Chema is, putting in place is like that. It's a level of professionalism. Like, he's not going to send one of these riders to Proto if they haven't proved themselves that they like.
So it's like their first step in that totem pole kind of thing.
But a real step, not like, like, I know this guy, so I might get hooked up a little bit. It's like, oh man, I know this guy, but
I want to work with him.
I'm trying to perfect my craft, and I want to take this sport and company to the next level, and I'm ready to get after it. It's not just asking for a handout, like, yeah, I need this, I need that. It's, you put as much effort into the sport as this guy is, it's going to be reciprocated, right? He's putting a lot of effort into everything that I can ride and perfect, so that way the whole scooter community can ride it as well and feel the same level of comfort that I do. But at the same time, I'm also progressing myself as a human, as a man or woman themselves, boy or girl, it doesn't matter. I'm progressing myself as a human being, and I'm progressing someone's business that means a lot to me as well. Because you're not just representing myself. Just because I ride a Proto deck doesn't mean I'm representing myself on Proto. I'm representing myself as a human being and Andrew as a human being and as a business owner, right?
Right.
I want to give the best perspective on this brand and this company as I possibly can. So when he's having guys and floating them stuff to go to the skate park and progress and continue their own brand and his brand at the same time, it should be something that just is hand in hand, right? It's hand in hand. I love scootering. I love this brand. Let's build it together, right? So that's what I truly think that scootering is almost missing in this point in time, is a true love to just get better and have fun rather than just getting exposed and getting clout and like likes and stuff, you know?
At the end of the day, you know, like it is pretty demanding, you know, like have all these expectations for riders because nobody's really making a living.
No.
That's like the harsh reality.
We're not in that point in time. We'll get there. We're just not there yet, which is completely fine. There's no right or wrong answer to that. It's completely fine.
Yeah, you have to do it because you love it.
Yeah.
And your skill will open the door of opportunity, but what you do after that, and this goes back to the differentiation between amateur and professional, you know, like an AM skill will open the door to becoming a professional, but they like pro isn't a title. You have to actually like embody it. You have to become a professional. And it's like we said, you know, it's what you do on the scooter that gets you there, but it's what you do off the scooter that keeps you there. And because there really isn't enough money to survive in scootering, I've always tried to promote diversifying your skill set to my team riders. You know, like learn how to film, learn how to edit, learn graphic design, learn about team management. Or if you want to visit the factory, learn about manufacturing, learn about CAD design, learn about machining, learn about welding, you know, like scootering, like being part of the sport and the community and being closely tied to a brand, especially a brand like ours where we're literally manufacturing the stuff. Like my team has such a higher level of exposure to all the inner workings of a business where they can get way more experience and like skills that will last them a lifetime, skills that will pay their bills when their time on a scooter has come to an end.
Yeah.
And that's just being real. Like you're not going to be a scooter rider. I mean, you can be a scooter rider at heart forever, but you're not going to be at some crazy competitive level or filming crazy video parts forever. Like you do have to kind of take into consideration what is going to happen after this. And if you can get your foot in the door with your skills on a scooter to learn other skills that are going to last you a lifetime, then why would you not take that opportunity? You know? And those are the types of riders, like the riders that figure out how to successfully make that transition. Those are the people who inspire me. Chema is a perfect example of one of them.
Exactly.
I'm trying to, you know, just off the top of my head, I guess like, I don't know, riders that have done it. Well, I mean, like rider, like in what aspect? Like Charles Padell. He's a great example of somebody who works in the industry now. Like he transitioned. I mean, he's still a rider, still extremely talented, one of the most well-rounded riders, in my opinion.
I back that.
And now he, you know, a lot of like the best way to get it, like to stay involved in scootering is through marketing. Like if you can get, if you know how to do video, Photoshop, Illustrator, you know, like vector or raster graphic design. I mean, if you can do any of that stuff and you're good with social media and making movies or film, video, you know, just any promotional media like that can keep you in scootering the longest. Who else? Tommy Dodano with Outset Select rider that started a retail operation.
Sick. And he still does it and doesn't even scooter anymore, really, because he really can't. But
he can't. But the passions, he's still a scooter
still there,
rider.
which is sick. I like that a lot. It really speaks volumes to me. Just like
Helmeri Pirinen from Finland. I mean, that guy is like in Finland. He's like a national celebrity.
Yeah.
I mean, his list of accomplishments and contributions to scootering are almost beyond compare. You some of the brand owners, Kevin DeMay, first and foremost, Dissidents, Ethic, and all kinds of snow scooters and price point scooters. And I mean, Kevin is he's a phenom in the sport.
Yeah.
You've got Colin with Tilt, Dom with Aztec, Regan with Native. These are guys who, scooter riders who, they developed a skill set on, but then more importantly off the scooter that will last them way longer than their riding skills alone.
For sure.
Like those are the types of people that, like, I mean, it's awesome for like the young generation to look up to, really talented scooter riders that do really cool tricks. But at a certain point, it shouldn't be only about that,
exactly.
You fade out.
Exactly. No,
fade out.
Your tricks and stuff will fade, and your attitude and your energy you bring to the sport will stay there forever. So your attitude and energy is gonna trump those tricks and everything, those clips and those videos you did all day, every day, right? So I think people really just need to understand that in this sport of scootering, watching a cool web edit and all that is sick, but it's also a lot cooler when I have a real professional who wants me to get better and wants me to actually get a better understanding of the sport as a whole. And it's not just me hopping on my scooter, getting sponsored and doing tricks for clips and Instagram videos. It's about me having fun, enjoying my life as a personal human being, and enjoying my friends around me, right? It's all hand in hand. If I'm having fun at the skate park and I have a really nice team around me, everyone's having fun, we're all session, getting tricks, getting clips, it makes scootering 20 times better, right? That's what I love about that. I've said it so many times on this podcast, dude. Like, scootering is fun because it's not meant to be an activity to be done as cool. Like, you don't hop on a scooter to be cool.
No.
You hop on a skateboard. Filming videos with your friends is what it's all about.
Yeah, it's all it's about.
Like that's where it all started. That's where
all it is.
That is ultimately it,
Yeah.
And like I love, like, I mean, I love full length videos, but I mean, it's super difficult for those to still. Let me rephrase it. It's super difficult for a brand to justify paying for a full length video because to get,
it doesn't
10 people on a team to all finish a video part in time and paying for trips and going everywhere, like I did that at a time when I was still actively riding constantly. I was the one going on the trips and filming and organizing and doing all that. Like, my time is spent in the factory almost entirely because my skill set
is in the factory.
The skill set that I developed off the scooter is now become my life. I haven't, the last Nitro Circus show that I rode was 10 years ago. Like, that's crazy.
That's gnarly, bro.
That's crazy. Like, I rode Nitro Circus the last show I did was 10 years ago. The first show I did was like almost 12 years ago. So it's like, you do have to find a way to transition. But I think that, like the people who are still at that point in their life and in their riding where they have a good group of friends, someone's got a camera and you're just going out and you're filming each other. Those, like, I get super, super hyped on just the homie videos, the crew videos. Like, if it's you and your friends, you can totally justify making a full length. In your hometown, you guys can get a group of people together. You can film, you can edit, you can develop. Again, whoever's doing the filming and the editing, they're the ones that are developing that skill set. Like, that's going to take them somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. And, like Matt McKean and David Coe with Trendkill, like, that's what they're promoting. And I do back it, I do, like, I think I have gotten a little bit of criticism for, not putting more emphasis on full length videos, but dude, I've made a lot of them.
You've done your fair share.
You've done your fair share.
I was going to say, you've done plenty in the full length scooter scene, to be honest, where, like, I wouldn't expect, like, anything else that I would see from you full length wise is literally just extracurricular. I'm not even gonna lie, dude. Like, it's like you've not necessarily saying like you've been there, done that, obviously to the absolute T. But like, dude, I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like, if you didn't make another Proto Catalyst DVD again, like, I wouldn't hate you for it at all. Like, you've been there, done that,
and that might be the reality. Like,
you know?
I don't know. And we talked earlier about just like how unique that Catalyst team was, and that Catalyst fan was. I mean, we still went on to make Armageddon Reincarnate. Yeah. We also did the Freestyle Depot had a full length video that really doesn't ever get talked about. It was called Fun and Easy. Like, the Freestyle Depot full length video was actually like really, really dope.
Really solid.
Really dope. Yeah. So I've done like 4 full lengths. And then like if you count Intermission, Intermission was released in parts on YouTube. It wasn't like a start. Intermission's the only one that doesn't have an intro and credits, which is kind of like, in my opinion, what like defines the full length package. So it was like 90% of a full length. But anyways, like I love filmmaking. And when I was going out with the team and filming and editing, like I was all about it. Yeah. But my responsibilities, my obligations are in the factory. Now. So, I want to see that stuff keep going. Yeah. It's just like difficult to.
So I understand that for sure.
So not to, go back on everything, but, when you do see some negativity about, your brands that you put a lot of time and effort into, right? When you do see things that are kind of contradictory to like what you've been doing and what you believe in, how does it affect you? Does it make you feel a certain way? Does it kind of, throw off your mindset? Like, I've been working hard to do this and that, and then you want to just squash it and, say some certain things about my brands. Like, does the backlash make you feel, does it upset you? Does it motivate you? Does it do both? Like, what kind of, like, when you get certain backlash on your brands, what is your mindset? Because I'm on the outside looking in. I have no idea, right? Like, I have people that, hate on me for, like, if I was wearing something weird or if I did, like, a trick that was weird, But what kind of things do you get as a brand owner? And then how does it affect you? Just because, like I said, I'm on the outside looking in. I have no idea what goes through someone, like, a brand owner's mind. Like, do you get affected of it by all? Not by all, at all? Or like, is it almost just like motivation just to do better?
It's a roller coaster, honestly. It's a total roller coaster. Like, being in my position, like there's a lot of brands out there. Every brand has an owner. Yep. And not every brand owner is the face of their brand. Nope.
No.
So I'm in a unique.
I promise you no.
I'm in a unique position where, like, I could just like go hide behind the scenes and just like put myself out of the firing line. Yep. But that's not Proto. Like, I am Proto.
Yeah.
Like,
which I was gonna say, I truly,
like, Proto is me. I am Proto. Yeah. Like, what the good, the bad, the ugly. Yeah. Like, it falls on me. Yeah. And all of the successes feel incredible. All of the failures feel devastating. The hate when it comes in waves. Like, sometimes things are great, and then something gets people triggered, and then you're in the firing line for a little while. And it sucks. It totally sucks, because it's something that I've literally dedicated my life to, something that I love. I'm super passionate, extremely passionate about. Yeah. If you can't tell.
Come on, son.
I can't tell. Tell me more.
And it's like, I'm like, everything that I do for scootering. Like, Proto is literally prototype. I'm trying to prototype the perfect scooter for all scooter riders. And I want to do things. I'm trying to do things that make the industry proud, that make scooter riders proud to be riding a scooter, to be part of this industry. I mean, dude, I've lost count of how many people have that logo tattooed on them. Like, that, like, they are marked for life. Marked for life with my brand. I owe it to everybody to like I have an obligation to make sure that Proto stays sick forever.
Yeah.
So I have something to say. So I would contradict you and say that you don't have an obligation to them. I would say that
it's to myself too, because
yourself,
I got it on my face too.
No, you know what I'm saying? But I know, like, you know, there's probably some guys out there and stuff that, you know, probably say you owe them stuff and all this stuff, dude. But, you know, I truly believe that everything you've done for anyone that is on your team, that you don't owe them anything, no matter what they did or made, what videos they made or anything. I truly don't believe you don't owe anyone anything. And if I was sincerely sitting here right now saying anything I could, I would sincerely say that if anyone owes anyone anything, it's the guys that you've prior put on the team and put on and done stuff for, is what I would say. They owe you things, and I wouldn't say anyone owes you anything, just because you've put so much time and effort into what you've done. You've perfected your brand and your parts and everything. And no matter what, I truly believe that anyone that was a part of you, that I would say that you don't owe them anything, is what I would say. Long story short, you don't owe anyone anything, dude. And
dude, say it like, how many times you gonna say it, bro?
Hey,
just shut
AJ,
up, bro.
Damn,
AJ.
that purple bag hitting. Purple bag hitting.
AJ, cut it out. Cut it out. No, for real though, bro.
This is the Crown Royal commercial
Yeah.
right here.
I would truly say, seriously, dude, if I had anything to say on top of the other things I said, you don't owe anyone anything.
Wait,
is what I had to say.
Do you think that anybody owes him anything?
You know what's funny? Because
Just
like,
buy me a bottle of Crown,
Right,
Yeah,
and we're good.
right when you asked me that question,
You actually
I dead ass
you were
thought
about
you
to
were like
say it,
being
huh?
serious. I was like,
You were about to
I'm about
say
to
it
sit
again.
here and be like, okay, let me just
Maybe
sit,
you didn't
sit
hear
down.
me.
Let me answer this question, this real question, real quick. And you clowning on me, bro. Next. Next.
So, you know, you've gone through a lot, right? You've gone through a lot in scootering. You've seen a lot go down. You've seen the birth of scootering. You've seen the growth. You've seen the ups. You've seen the downs. You've seen the manufacturing, all the pros and cons. But as an individual, as Andrew Broussard, where do you think that you stand in scootering right now? And like let's say there's a picture on a wall of Andrew Broussard. The majority of the scooter industry, what do you think they would say about that photo?
Beyond the fact that I'm trying to do like a little handlebar over here, and then he just wants to like show up and just dust me in the handlebar mustache contest. So it's all right. You know, I get compliments here and there. Like, hey, that's pretty sick. I don't know if anyone's actually meaning it or not, but just to let you know, you showed up with your handlebar and I wanted to like shave mine off. So that's all I got to say.
So which wall are you going to give me in here to hang my portrait, and then we can find out what people say.
I'll give you this wall right here, bro.
No, I mean, where do I want to be? I can probably answer that. Where am I right now? I don't know. I feel like I've been pretty, you know, like I guess my face is tied to Proto. You know, like there's very few brands out there where the owner of the brand is the face of the brand.
Truly.
So
Seriously though,
you know, I can't really like be totally out of the limelight, so to speak. But I have been pretty like behind the scenes for a little while now.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not like really putting myself out there all the time, here and there. But yeah, just I don't know. I guess, you know, when people see me, I want them to think of Proto and the technology that we've developed and the quality of our parts and the standards that we've implemented and the work that we've done. You know, I want that to be, you know, like what I'm recognized by. And I guess like just where I stand in the sport, I don't know, just an old rider that transitioned to the business, you know, like I'm still a rider at heart and I still ride from time to time, not even nearly as much as I would like to.
yeah.
But yeah, I guess like when people see me, like just a rider that transcended riding and is there to still build and nurture the industry that I care about. And I mean, that's what I hope people think of when they see me. I'm there with good intentions to try and just keep the sport healthy and sustainable, and just give people products that allow them to have just as much fun as I did when I was riding a lot.
So my next question to that is, if someone were to sit here and question that, to think that you were doing things in the community for the wrong aspect of it, what would you say to them? Like, if someone was sitting here, you know, like counter arguing everything you have to say about scootering, basically, what would you say to them? Like, if someone basically put words into your mouth and was saying you're doing this and this and this for these reasons, what would you say to them?
Here we go again, bro.
Exactly. No, I'm just saying in general, bro. Like, there's someone out there that would seriously like sit there and kind of question what everything you said.
Okay,
what would you tell to them?
Do I own a new car?
No.
Have I ever owned a new car?
No.
Do I own a house?
No.
Do I own my building? Are my hands dirty every single day from working in a factory? I don't have to say anything to that. Like, if I didn't love it, I wouldn't be doing it.
Okay.
Because I don't know what people think I'm getting out of it. You know, I'm surviving. It's a job. You know, I work a normal job. It just so happens to be that job is in scootering. Mm-hmm. Like, I go to work at minimum 5 days a week. I'm there 10 to 12 hours a day. But I also have the freedom and flexibility because I'm my own boss. You know, if I do want to take time off, I can. I don't have to ask for permission, you know. But like, when I put it, like, work hard, play hard. That is how I live. Like, when it's time to work, I will work. I will outwork anybody. I will not ask anybody to do something that I'm not willing to do myself.
Yeah.
You know, so if people are saying that I'm in it for the wrong reasons, it's like, well, what am I in it for then?
Yeah.
Like, you tell, if I'm in it for the wrong reasons, then tell me what I'm getting out of it.
Yeah.
Why am I doing
different
this?
than the growth?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Of what you love.
Like, if I didn't care for it, if I didn't love it, like, that, there have been some serious ups and downs. You know, I said earlier, it's been a roller coaster, but you know, you don't rise and fall and rise again without the love and the passion for what you're doing.
Right.
So I don't really have to answer that question to anybody.
Yeah.
Do you think that with all that you've done with Proto and River, is there anything that you would go back and change? Do you have any regrets of things that you have done with Proto at River or TGE or Nitro or anything that you've done ever? Any mistakes that you've made that you wish that you wouldn't?
Oh, I mean, never-ending mistakes. I guess mistakes are the only way that you learn.
That's the wrong. I think that I shouldn't have said that. But what are the regrets that you have?
Regrets,
if any,
or just something that you would change. What would you change?
Yeah.
You know, like, anything that I would change, I would have had to sacrifice something else that I was doing back then. So I guess, like, you know, like, I could probably sit here and think of things that I would change, but then I wouldn't have been doing something else that I wouldn't want to change. You know, like, I don't know if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
That makes sense to me.
Like there's a lot of stuff, you know, like, just specifically with product development, because like most of my product development it revolves around standardizing the industry. Mm-hmm. And I do believe that there is a certain sequence that these products have to be developed in for proper adoption and for industry standardization. Like, you don't want to say, for example, you don't want to, and this is something that we're battling with right now, because we don't currently have a fork in production, but people want bigger wheels. And it's like, well, I don't want to make bigger wheels with Proto until Proto has a fork to accept a larger wheel. So, you know, it's like you have to do a fork before I can do the wheels. So, you know, I guess the only thing that I would change is just like putting more time and energy into the product development just to like stay at pace with the industry in certain areas. And in certain areas, or in other areas like TDI, for example, we're a decade ahead of the industry. And I guess maybe that's all a matter of perspective, but that's my perspective.
Yeah.
But I guess just like I would just have like accelerated the product development. But if I had put that much time and energy into product development and that much money, again, very expensive, doing research and design, I probably wouldn't have had the same amount of money that I spent on the team. I took like a few years ago, we took like 5 dudes to Europe for almost a month. I mean, that is not cheap.
Yeah,
that's not cheap. But that trip could have paid for R&D on a proto fork or larger wheels,
right.
So I don't regret that Europe trip was amazing. It was fantastic. Like, I would not change that. So that's like the type of thing where I'm like, there are certain things that I could have done different, but I would have had to sacrifice things that I really enjoyed out of being part of scootering. And so I guess, I don't know, maybe that was like a really long-winded no. I wouldn't change anything.
Okay. What about what about your quick run with retail, with being with Freestyle Distro, or sorry,
Freestyle Depot? Would I have changed anything there? Or
like, just because that's a different route. Like, that's something that didn't last as long as I'm sure you would have hoped it did.
It was sad to see it go. Because,
it's a baby of yours.
I mean, it was the Scooter Resource Store. Like, it was the first freestyle scooter retail operation. Like, Scooter Zone was the first brick and mortar, but the Scooter Resource Store was the first. And I don't know. It had it served.
You lost a light.
Do we have a?
We have a plug-in.
Yeah,
keep going.
Yeah, keep going.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to focus watching you run around.
That's the first time. Ever.
But we've also never gone this long.
Ever. Not even close.
We're back.
Plug in that other one. They're probably going to run out at the same time.
Yeah, I was going to say. Let's go.
So I guess, the Freestyle Depot and the SR store, they had a purpose for their time. That at the time that the SR store started, there was no other freestyle scooter store. So, I mean, it was just something that the sport needed, so I did it. And then eventually it evolved into Freestyle Depot. And, by the time Freestyle Depot, kind of started making some noise, like I said, we did the full-length video. We had a full team. We had a full brick-and-mortar store by the end. We had a beautiful storefront. I mean, I still remember that storefront.
I remember that store.
Yeah, it was
nice.
Like, we had that place dialed in. But, by that point in time, the sport had a lot of options for retail. There was a lot more shops. And so that retail environment just got so competitive. I just looked at it and I'm like, you know what? To be the top retailer, you have to carry everything from every brand.
Yeah.
And that includes the stuff that you really don't want to be carrying, that you don't really back, but you have to carry it. And so I guess morally, I'm just I didn't want to carry stuff that I wasn't fully behind.
Yeah.
And then I'm also,
is that something you would change?
What?
Just that part.
Would you do it
that,
now?
That little spot right there. If you knew that you could go back and it could be successful just by swallowing that pill.
Popularity.
No, I don't regret that. Leave retail to retailers.
Okay.
I love our retailers. I love all the shops that support us. I wouldn't change that. Getting out of retail was the right thing to do. It was sad to see it go because it was literally what started the whole business, but I was okay with it because really where I excel is manufacturing Proto and River. So rather than spend my time and energy running a retail store in an extremely competitive environment, carrying products that I really didn't care for, I just cut my losses and said, look, I'm going to focus on what I'm good at. And what I'm good at is designing scooter parts and manufacturing scooter parts. So it just, Freestyle Depot and the Scooter Resource Store, they serve their purpose at during their period of time. They did what the sport needed them to do. And when they reached the end of their useful lifespan, they went away.
Right.
And I guess I've kind of been thinking about this. Maybe this is, well, I already started, so we'll just say it. But I kind of question, what the future for Proto is, because Proto is prototype. We're prototyping the standards for scooters. Mm-hmm. And I truly believe that, like skateboarding, every skateboard truck bolts to every skateboard because they use the same hole pattern. Mm-hmm. The axles are all the same. The wheels are all the same. The bearings are all the same. The hardware is all the same. You can take anything from any brand and bolt it all together. I think that is what the future of scooters can and should be. And I feel like once we get there, what does Proto do then? Has Proto served its purpose? Once Proto has prototyped, once Proto has prototyped the sport, has it served its purpose?
I guess you'll find out.
Yeah,
down the road.
I don't have the answer for that one, but I do think about that. What is the future of Proto once the sport is standardized?
And I think that's going to lead me into the next question. What does scootering need? In Andrew Broussard's mind, what does scootering need? And I think the answer in your mind is a standard.
Totally. But that also might be the thing that brings Proto to an end.
Sheesh.
Well, it either brings it to an end because its purpose has been served, or it enters a totally new chapter, a totally new evolution.
Is that it though? Is that the only thing you think scootering needs? It can't be.
Standards are huge. I mean, as far as mechanically speaking, you have to have standards so people stop wasting their money on incompatible, low quality
garbage.
Don't get me started, bro. Do not get me started.
What are you gonna name me?
I'm gonna keep going.
Don't get started.
Oh my goodness, bro. People buying stuff all the time that doesn't work, dude. I'm like, oh. Shoot.
But if that's what's out there and they've got good marketing behind it and people don't know any better, that stuff will keep going out into the market, and every time one of those products enters the market, it's just a little bit of poison in circulation. And that's what I'm trying to stop, get everybody in the industry on the same page. Everybody with the same quality, the same compatibility, the same standards. Then I don't think we've even seen the potential of the sport because there's so many roadblocks with the mechanical compatibility. Now that's strictly mechanically speaking. Then there's the what do we need from the riders? What do we need from the brands? What do we need from event organizers and competitions? Do we need the Olympics? Do we need energy drink sponsors? I think you don't really none of, I guess ultimately none of that matters if the scooter itself hasn't reached its final form. Nobody's going to want the things that people want to see happen in scootering. I don't think are going to happen until the scootering industry has matured, the products have matured, and there's just a better level of stability in the industry. So I guess what does scootering need? Stability. And where does stability 100%. Come from? And I think stability comes from a lot of
different bullets.
From products.
From products. Yeah, the products, the root of scootering is literally the scooter.
Yeah. That's mostly, I only can base what you are saying off of personal experience of just working on scooters when they come into the store. There's a lot of scooters these days, dude, that are just not functional, man. Like, they want these scooters dialed up and stuff, and it's just not possible. This is not.
Yeah, there's a few.
You got a bunch of stuff on there that's just not going to be compatible. So I feel like BMX has a standard. Skateboarding has a standard where you need this certain setup where it's going to be, you know, universally
Sound.
used.
Yeah.
And like, not just universally used, but universally like cooperating with your needs. Like, it's going to meet everything you need, right? You know, if you go to the skateboard shop down the street, you could buy everything you need to suit your needs. You can come here and buy everything to suit your needs. But I feel like I feel like in our sport, there's a lot of he said, she said kind of thing with all these parts and everything. And it's almost like this like unwritten rule where, like, you know, because I'll have kids come in like to the point where like their friends are like determining their bar size, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like stuff like that. It's like, okay, dude, like, come on now. You're like, you can pick out your own stuff. You pick this, do that, do this, and you're gonna form your own riding, your own skating, your own this.
That's a good point, actually. What does scootering need? Scootering needs better, and it all goes back to the scooter, but scootering needs better education.
Mm-hmm.
Better education, like shops and brands, which if shops don't know what they're doing and brands don't know what they're doing and they're just copying other people's products and selling whatever they can sell, they're not really educating anybody. And maybe they don't even know what to say or what to do. And so I think just like a better education, don't just sell a kid a complete because it's in the right price range. No. Sell it to him because like it's properly fitted.
Yeah.
That's one thing I was
gonna say, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, I'm gonna revert it back to my personal stuff real quick. I like scootering to the point where someone comes into my store, not my store, Raymond's store. Someone comes in here, right? I'm gonna put you on though. I'm not gonna, hey man, buy this $300 scooter. I get no initiative for it.
No, like that's
I shouldn't. Like, it's not my thing to come into the store and sell you things for money. It's nothing. I don't make any money off any sale, which I don't expect to. It's not what I'm in the sport for the sport.
He
right?
No, we've gotten that.
I want you to walk out with what you want.
Exactly.
I want you to be comfy.
Gotten that
I don't
feedback,
want that, bro. I don't want
from
that.
Plenty of people saying it's not a stressful purchasing environment, I think it's like that in a lot of stores though.
Well, I tell people all the time. I mean, I don't know how everyone works. I've never been to another scooter store. Swear on mamas, bro. I'd never been into any other scooter store. Not one. Swear. I've only been in Scooter Zone. Jeez. So I've only been with what I feel comfortable with. And, you know, I'm the kind of guy who kind of goes into stores, like shoes, whatever. I want what I want. And I feel like when people come in here, bro, like I said, I got no initiative to sell you something that's more expensive, bro. Like, I want you to go home and have your growing kid give your growing kid a scooter he's gonna be able to ride for 3 years.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't want you to ride something that's gonna make me money. I don't know that, bro. And that's what I think with this sport is kind of hold back on. You know what I'm saying? Like, people want to do the sport for fun, man. It's cool.
Yeah,
it looks sick. It looks sick. You do it right, it looks sick. I want you to have fun, go home, ride your $600 setup
and smile
that your parents put on you, and smile, bro. No matter what it is, no matter what brand. And that's the other thing. I think the one thing about holding scooters back is just these weird, like, unwritten rules. Like, weird unwritten rules.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
speaking of written rules, though, scooter resource. Scootering needs the scooter resource.
It do.
Are you going to bring it back?
It's dormant, not dead.
Oh.
Are you going to bring it back?
So he's bringing it back. That's what he just said.
It's dormant.
He said dormant, not dead.
Yeah.
It's coming back.
No. The question
That's what I'm saying.
When is it coming back?
My self-imposed deadline is the 20-year anniversary, which is January 2023. So I got about a year.
I'm going to be 26 by then. I'm turning 25 January 1st.
I got about a year, and you know, we talked earlier about the future of a forum and a message board. Like, scooter resource will not be I do not believe that it will ever be a forum or a message board again.
I still have dummy scooter resource stickers, just to interrupt you. dummy black and white ones. It says scooter resource all over. It says SR scooter resource at the bottom. I have dummy amounts of those ones.
But when
keeping them all.
When the sport first popped off, like, you could go to a skate park, and if there was a kid that showed interest in your scooter or in scootering or wanted to ride your scooter, you could tell them, hey, when you get home, check out. Well, now you don't have to get home. Just pull out your smartphone and go to scooterresource.com. So, you know, like, I don't think that there's going to be a message board forum community, but I still think that it can be a central hub and a place for all scooter riders to look for news and events,
real clips, everything like that.
Well, and also, like, going back to, you know, like, the other, what does scooter need? Better education. You know, like, I think the education really, it needs to come from the people designing the stuff. Like, you can't expect a shop, like I want shops to educate the market and educate the riders.
Comes from opinion.
But the brands, the brands are responsible for educating the shops to pass that education on to the rest of the community. Yeah. So I think I really want Scooter Resource to be a resource for the scooter community, and you know, just have like a glossary of terms, explaining, you know, what everything is, how everything works. I actually talked to Kevin DeMay. I don't know if you ever saw the Dissident scooter tips that they had on their website.
I haven't. No.
He did an awesome job compiling just all of his. I mean, he is one of the types of people that I'm talking about, like the mechanically minded, technical scooter builders that was trying to educate the sport. So I talked to him about using his Dissident's tips as kind of like a framework for like an expanded, like, I think he wrote that one in like 2014 maybe. What? So it's like a little bit, by today's standards, I think there's like
a little outdated.
I would say it's pretty relative though. It's probably pretty still
not outdated, like nothing in it is wrong. It's just that there's more that needs to be in it now. So I think basically we're going to take that as like a framework, and then like I just want to expand on that. Have that on Scooter Resource, and then the original, like the very, very, very first Scooter Resource, which you can still actually see on, what is it? The Wayback Machine. It's called Archive. The Internet Archive, the Wayback Machine. I forget what the website is. Like, I think it's archive.org or something like that. So the original Scooter Resource, that you can see on there, it was just a directory of names. It was like, there wasn't actually a forum at the beginning. It was just like an alphabetical list of names. And I remember specifically Brandon Kilbury was like one of the first 10 members that signed up on the original Scooter Resource before the forum, before anything. So like people would email me, send me a picture of themselves, their name, their age, where they were located, like the city and state they were in. And so I was like trying to build, like, scooter riders were so few and far between. Like we were like, I was just trying to build like a name by name like directory, right? So you could like find other scooter riders, and then that's what turned into the forum. But I want to do like another directory too, but rather than, you know, like finding other scooter riders, like we don't have a problem with that anymore. No, there's really scooter riders everywhere, really, but so I want to do a directory of more like kind of like I guess like a Hall of Fame. Kind of like a scootering historic Hall of Fame. Ooh. So like a directory of like all the most influential. I mean, the people that I've named in this podcast, I just like barely scratched the surface on all of the people who have really contributed to make scootering what it is. And I would really like to, you know, like do like a Hall of Fame directory and just like give a shout out to everybody who has had a significant contribution to scootering. And then that is the education that I'm talking about. You know, like scooter riders today, like they meet a pro at the skate park. The pro tells them, follow me on Instagram. And so that kid gets one point of view in scootering. They don't get the big picture.
Nothing.
They don't get the history.
Nothing.
They don't get the anything.
So what you're doing day by day.
So, like social media has made everything very about the me, kind of like the I don't want to say self-centered sounds bad, but self-centered, self-centric, maybe that sounds better. I don't know. Like you are the center of your social media.
Yeah.
Right. You're not putting the sport out there, you're putting yourself out there. So I think with something like Scooter Resource, with just like super resource intensive database for everybody just to learn. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of stuff that like people who even think that they know a lot about scootering,
they have no idea what they know about.
There's probably like a lot of stuff that's kind of like fallen by the wayside. That
seriously though,
I don't want to be lost in time.
Yeah, and
no, there's a lot of stuff like personally, not to cut you off, bro.
No good.
There's a lot of stuff personally that have cut the public off to scootering, where like they'll bring their scooter in for their kid and stuff, which is completely fine. You don't have to know anything. Just because you're a parent doesn't mean you have to know how the whole entire scooter works, right? But when a parent does come in and they have a whole scooter they don't really know what's going on with, it would be very nice to have that initiative to just send them there. Boom. There you go.
And it's not just like the work that Kevin did with Dissidents. It wasn't just well, I think his was actually like really geared towards he's
parents and stuff like that.
No, actually like very like engineering.
Okay.
Like he was more focused on the engineering and like just explaining the functionality. Like the utility of the scooter. But I would also like to emphasize, like while we're telling them, like the anatomy of the parts and the compatibility between ICS and IHC and HIC and SCS and PLC, I think is one.
Yeah, the Pytel one.
I've never heard of that one.
No, that's a different one.
That one over my head.
Pytel one is a different one. There's the spring load the spring loaded SLC is the sacrifice one. I've never actually seen it in real life.
I don't want to see it, bro. That's a headache in my mind already, bro. I'm telling you, I'm not gonna lie.
But I mean, even like just the fact that it happened, it needs to be documented.
Yeah. It would still be cool. I mean, and in a couple of years' time, like if that all comes down to it, and we do have like a full-on spot, like a hub to go.
I hope we do.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I hope we do, man.
And then like you're saying, like a place for parents. Because I mean, ultimately, like a lot, like let's just be real. Like the market is
mom and dad.
It's the youth. It's parent. Like most of the scooter market is parents buying scooters for their kids. So you want the parents to feel comfortable with the purchase too, and know what they're buying, and not getting sold a lemon. So like putting installation and like you're explaining the scooter, but you also want to like give them installation instructions, maintenance instructions. Just like very basic stuff that
that's not so basic to the end of the because it's really not.
Yeah,
it's basic until it's not basic. To be honest, like
it's stuff that we all take for granted because we know.
I for sure take it for granted,
but it's
sure do.
Like for a new rider or a new parent getting involved, it can be like really really daunting. And so you want to make it easy,
science, man. It's rocket science. It really is. Dude, I mean, when I started working here, bro, I couldn't do anything. I'm telling you, to the point where like my younger brother would tell me like, "Oh, every bro, I couldn't take my scooter apart and put it back together. I swear to you."
That's just how it goes.
Before you even thought about, let me ask this dude. Before you even thought about that, bro, I swear to God, my brother used to tell me, "Hey, take this off, blah 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 blah." Bro, I'd take my bars off, clack that off, take my SCS off. I'm done. Can't do knifing, bro. Knifing. I can't even put my headset halfway back on so it works, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all.
See?
Nah.
I love it, bro.
Swear. Before I even started working here, bro. Swear to God.
Well, Drew,
come see me.
We've taken a few hours of your time, man.
Nah, not enough time.
Oh, look at
let me keep going.
Just get warmed up.
Wear this purple
Just
drink.
Get warmed up.
Let me get this purple coat. Let me wear that.
Well, I feel like we've covered a lot of ground, man. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are listening to this one and really actually getting that first spot of education. And I think it's going to be a really good really good thing for a lot of people to listen to. And do you have anything else that you want to say?
Just thank you to everybody who supported my brands, Proto and River. Without you guys, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. And I really do feel like I'm just getting started. You know, there's so much stuff that I still want to do and want to contribute. And when it comes to manufacturing scooter parts, it's not cheap. So every purchase that you guys make from my brands goes directly back into the scootering industry. And for that, I'm very thankful. I do not take it for granted. I love all you guys, and I'm thankful for your support. What do we got up on the table here?
What we got?
What
you got? Show him, bro. Show him. The grip.
13 year anniversary grip tape. Turned out pretty dope.
Sheesh.
Inspired by the Friday the 13th tattoo flash art.
Yes, sir.
With the birthday candle on the skull's head.
Boom.
Yes, sir. What else you got, bro?
If you guys are sold on TDI, we got the
that new.
That's 6.
Got the new
that
Saturn 6 with the drop top. I don't think we really talked about the drop top.
We really didn't.
But
put them on real quick. Put them out the drop top.
We got the little center ridges on the top. So we actually dropped the inside walls in and then left a center ridge on the top. So it gives you, instead of just having edge control here and here, you got it here, 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 and here. So basically just gives you a little bit more grip, a little bit more control. So instead of having to flick and catch from your edges, you can actually flick and catch from the middle. So it gives you just more options, more foot positioning. And it also helped us shave a little bit of weight off the deck, which everybody, I think,
you got them weight.
Everybody, do not even sit there and look in the lens and tell me not everybody. I know all y'all be caring about the weight. I'm just saying.
If you all want to grab, if you guys want to get any Proto or River parts, Matt, hit him with it.
www.scooterzone.com, thescooterzone.com. We will have all the River and Proto parts you ever desire.
Ever need,
ever. Even the new 6 wide, so do not sleep. I've seen it myself. Personally, fire. I'll be riding it within the next week.
Because Andrew's going to give him one.
Because I'm going to buy one from this boy. I'm going to need that. I didn't tell him before he sat down. I'm gonna need the SCS in the deck. Thank you very much, my friend. But
on the way.
Sheesh. Let's go. But man, hey, all you guys showing up, showing out, we appreciate all you guys. My man Raymond's gonna let you guys off the hook, but I'm gonna interrupt him a little bit. Okay, really do appreciate everybody watching, listening. Okay, I'll be rambling. Just know, with everything I say goes. I'm always right. I'm never wrong.
Oh, here we go.
I am never wrong.
Always a pleasure.
Wait, I got one more thing.
Oh, hit it.
Actually, so we had our little cheat sheet, just kind of like an outline. You know, the very top, the very first thing on the list. So, shout out to my boo Elise. I got engaged.
Oh!
Yeah. I got engaged like 2 months ago.
Let's go.
She's awesome. She actually works for Proto now. She's our operations manager, and she's crushing it at the office. She's basically coordinating production and HR and payroll and operations and accounting and
she's keeping your ass in check.
Yeah, I'm about to say keeping your ass out of trouble, Andrew.
We're well balanced.
That's what she's doing.
We're well balanced, and
she the rock.
It's taken a lot of load off of me, so I can focus on the product development again, because I was very stuck in the daily grind maintaining the business, and so now I've got some light at the end of the tunnel, which is very, very refreshing.
Seriously.
So that's a pretty big life update.
Pretty big, very big. But all
congratulations, man.
All the other weenies out there, hey, seriously though, scootering is one big sport. We're one big family. We're here to make it one extra big family. We don't want to throw anyone in the dirt. We don't do anything weird. Okay. Raymond, give me a weird look. We're here to give this sport one big, great, big, happy love and kiss, man.
Whoa.
Seriously, shout out Andrew. Biggest goat in the game. If you don't think so, you're a lame.
Thanks, bro. Always a pleasure. Peace.
Oh, Bob, hey, that rhymed.
Thank you, guys.
Big, hey, if you that rhymed,
Oh.
you know that. If you ain't with
Much
him, you lame in the
love,
game.
much
You
love.
that rhymed, bro. You know that. Come on, son.